Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to do a little reaction of Ben Shapiro. I don't know if he's debating or just having a discussion with Michael Tracey about the whole Epstein thing. I'm sure there's going to be fireworks. But first, do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, and then donate. Thank you very much. All right. So I think we all know Ben's position, by the way. He's like, I trust the federal government. Epstein killed himself, and there is no further evidence after that. He was a pervert, and it was him and him alone. Now, some people are suspecting that he's doing that because he knows or believes that Mossad is attached to the whole Epstein thing. So thus, Ben wants to kind of just get rid of this story and move on, right? Let's get back to killing Palestinians. Why are we talking about this Epstein stuff? Right? And Michael Tracey, what I've seen of him on Twitter has been kind of following the story for the same reasons I've been, or maybe somewhere around the same reasons, which is, look how hypocritical and contradictory and, let's be honest, full of shit the administration has been over this story. And I think that's, for me, the biggest takeaway from all of this. Yes, I understand the story is important in the sense of, like, Jesus Christ, human rights violations. Forget about human rights violations, like, just, like, the core of a person, like, that's wrong. Anyone on, like, just normal person walking on the street, like, yeah, that's fucked up. And that's wrong. Right? So with that there, and seeing the administration kind of dance around it and trying to, like, make it go away, then realizing they can't do that, so thus they're going to lean into it, but make it seem like no one they know is culpable in any form or fashion. They're all innocent. It's all the Democrats doing a hoax. All right? And Michael Tracey has, if I had to guess, he's kind of giggling on the side, seeing all this happen. It's just like, oh my God, who the fuck is following this guy? If I had to guess. And that's somewhere around the neighborhood where I'm at. But why talk for them when both of these fools can talk for themselves? Here we go. Ben Shapiro, Michael Tracey, talking about Epstein. It's kind of weird seeing Michael Tracey on this channel in the first place, but here it is. Maybe Michael Tracey will surprise me and say something I fully just disagree with. I see that possibility because he's such a quote-unquote rationalist. But without further ado, here we go. Yeah.
Joining me online to discuss everything Epstein-related is Michael Tracey, independent journalist and political commentator. He's been known for his skepticism toward the legacy media. Of course, his work appears everywhere from The Nation to The American Conservative. Michael, thanks so much for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
Great to see you, Ben. You know, I think it's fair to say we've probably found ourselves in disagreement quite often over the years, but it's always so lovely to find these points of convergence. Maybe we can call it our wonderful secret.
Oh, wait. Actually, let me add this in because I did see this from Michael Tracey. Although he does point out the absurdity of the Trump administration and their handling of the Epstein stuff, I think he also thinks it's overblown, which is not my take. All right? He's like, oh, these are just people looking for conspiracy theories, so they need to, like, kind of shoo away, or they're not to be taken seriously. So that might be why fuckface, inauthentic Ben has Michael Tracey on his show. Just want to throw that in there. But all right, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the Epstein files and what is actually there. It seems to me pretty obvious that one of the things that happened here was just overselling and overselling and overselling. That people speculated in the absence of evidence, which is normal. It's a normal human thing to do. You see something suspicious, like
we're
Jeffrey
smarter,
Epstein
you're
being worth
dumb.
hundreds of millions of dollars. Nobody knows where his money came from or how he got it. And there are all sorts of rumors that have been going on for 20 years now about what was going on Epstein Island, all the people who were going there, who they were, and all the rest. And then it seems that members of the Trump administration, particularly Pam Bondi, oversold this and suggested they had tremendous evidence and then came out with a conclusion that basically there was no evidence that, one, he was a member of an intelligence organization, two, that he was trafficking to third parties in prosecutable fashion. They didn't have evidence to support that. Or three, that he was blackmailing anyone, any third party on the basis of such information. And the entire world has gone nuts. So what are people getting wrong about this case? Where are these allegations, where do these rumors come from in the first place? Aside from the fact that, again, salacious rumors just spread very easily on the internet.
Yeah, Epstein was a good guy.
Confluence of hysteria that I think informed this frenzy of speculation. Number one, you did have people like Kash Patel, who were not particularly scrupulous in their discussion of this matter while they were private citizens.
He's also a guy who purposely tries to use big
Kash
words.
Patel in late 2023 on Benny Johnson's show, commanding the FBI director at the time, Chris Wray, to put on his big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. That's basically a direct quote. And even in 2023, when Kash Patel made that statement, it was not particularly well-founded of a supposition to think that Chris Wray was actively concealing this explosive list of pedophiles that he just had sitting around or hidden in a vault somewhere and could unveil, much to the amazement of the American populace. You know, one misconception that I think people are not really adequately familiar with is that even if you go back to the initial prosecution of Epstein in Florida in 2007, 2008, that led to the now infamous non-prosecution agreement that was overseen by Alex Acosta, who later became Trump's first labor secretary, there were serious evidentiary problems that the prosecutors involved with that investigation perceived as to their likelihood to obtain a conviction should Epstein take the case to trial, which he and his very high-powered legal team, right, Alan Dershowitz, Ken Starr, et cetera, he obviously had the means to get the best representation possible. They were signaling their willingness to potentially take this case to trial, and some of those prosecutors were wary of their probability of success at trial, which is why they were more inclined to potentially get a plea. So there were victims, as they put it, who in some instances exonerated Epstein or did not want Epstein to be prosecuted. Don't take my word for any of this. You can go look at the 2020 Department of Justice Office of Professional Responsibility report that goes over this in great detail. And even the most hard-charging prosecutor, so there was some dissension within the federal prosecutor's office in South Florida about the best manner in which to approach the Epstein prosecution. But even the one who was most aggressive in wanting to go after Epstein acknowledged that none of the victims that she surveyed ever claimed that they had been trafficked to any other third-party individual. It was all in relation to Epstein, to the extent that there were allegations. So that's been known for a long time. People just don't care to particularly look at the incredibly copious factual record around the story, nor, and this is incredibly galling to me, and I'm interested in your views on this, nor has it really penetrated the popular consciousness here that there's a demonstrable track record of serial fabulism when it comes to some of the core Epstein accusers, namely the accuser from whom this whole allegation of a sprawling child sex trafficking conspiracy springs, Virginia Giuffre. I know you know, Ben. She admitted that she falsely accused, she fabricated depraved claims against Alan Dershowitz for nearly a decade. And Alan Dershowitz is an unusual figure in many respects, but he also had the means and the motivation to litigate what he always maintained were defamatory claims against him to its culmination. And his claims were vindicated on that score.
Was the guy who didn't take off his underwear?
Giuffre, represented by Devon Boys, who was a longtime legal antagonist of Dershowitz. Even he had to humiliate himself essentially by acceding to an acknowledgement from Giuffre that she had falsely accused Dershowitz of these crimes. That she had been, how they worded the settlement was that she may have misidentified Dershowitz. Really? You may have misidentified someone you claimed to have been sex trafficked to on 6 or 7 occasions. So that's fatal, one would think, to the credibility of a Giuffre. And there are other confabulations of hers over the years, which explains why when Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted in 2021 and went to trial, the prosecutors led by Maureen Comey, who's now been fired, did not call Virginia Giuffre to testify. They called 4 witnesses, 4 purported victims, who none of whom ever claimed that they had been trafficked to a third-party prominent individual. And I think you'll agree, Ben, that to the extent people are inflamed by this story or that perceive that there's a cover-up, what they think is being covered up is that there's a child sex trafficking ring that implicates all these prominent individuals, whether it's Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Bill Gates, whomever. And that's being covered up. But I guess what I would say is that, yes, there was fevered speculation that was sort of ginned up by people in the Trump administration and people in the right-wing media ecosystem, some on the left as well. But on top of that,
originally this
the factual basis for a lot of what people so confidently claim they believe to be true has always been faulty if you do the slightest dispassionate empirical evaluation of the story.
Now, what Michael Tracey is calling empirical is lawyering bullshit, in my humble opinion. Like, we don't know if that's legit. Like, someone could take a plea deal does not mean they're not guilty of X, Y, or Z, or if they aren't party to X, Y, or Z. So him reading court filings is not good enough. That's not good enough. First of all, Michael Tracey. Second of all, I mean...
You mean redacted court files?
Well, this story didn't pop up from... Well, yeah, but this story didn't pop up from... I think he's saying MAGA came up with this. Like, no, they didn't. This story is from well before that. Well before that. Before Donald Trump was anywhere being considered as a politician. I'm pretty sure. Like, he's just a game show host at that point, probably, right?
What was it, 2005, 7?
When I first heard about this, I heard about it late. Yeah. Like, I heard about this story late, like 2009-ish, I think. 9 or 10-ish, I probably heard about this.
I'm probably right there with you.
And
no, even later, 2011.
But for both of us, we're still late compared to like the people that were like actually in it at the time, and like really like investigating it. And then it became like a thing after Miami Herald made it a big deal, right? I think they were the ones that like, actually made this thing like a big deal.
Yes. So, and there's 8, and for his court case back then, it was 80 to 100 accusers. He's talking about 1.
Well, yeah, and also it's once again the way a lawyer might think about it. Let's say Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, right? That lawyer might think about it in the sense of, can we get something out of this or not? Instead of like, is it true or not? Right? With like attorneys, you might be looking for like innocent or guilt, right? That might be all they're looking for, instead of like, what's the actual truth of the matter? And that's been showcased. Like, what do you think? If we can bring Johnny Cochran back to life, what does he think about OJ's case? Do you think he's guilty or innocent? He might think he's guilty. He might think OJ's guilty, but the court has proven that he's innocent. Proven, quote unquote. Right? So using those documents as like some sort of standard, as some sort of appeal to authority, like, oh, see, look, the court documents say this. Sometimes people like pull back on certain stories because they can't prove it in court, even if they actually really, like in reality, like experienced it or witnessed it. Right? Oh, you got to drop this claim. You can't do this one because we don't have like enough witnesses or evidence to prove this in court. So this is that's a faulty way to look at things. It really is. But I can see pseudo-intellectuals doing that. I really could see that. And then also,
this guy's covering. This guy, I've seen Michael Tracey's reporting usually, I think, is like, based on things. He doesn't just make things up, right? Like, so
according to him, but
in that sense,
he's doing that here.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was like, in that sense, I generally like, accept it that way. But what I'm hearing him say here is that, I mean, it feels like he's rewriting things. Like, like, uh, like basically anybody who has made claims, it wasn't just uh Virginia Fred.
A lot of
there
people.
were other people who
Yeah.
had said this, and he's just dismissing them as like not credible or not on the record or something. Like
Or MAGA
it's
people.
like not official,
MAGA
right?
people that want some sort of sensationalized thing, which I do think takes
Yeah,
place. I've said that
yeah.
myself. I believe that takes place for sure. But
Well, that's
that's not
fine,
enough to
but
explain it all
he's
away.
making it where it's like as if it doesn't exist, or they're
Yeah.
just
Well, he's
like
smart.
okay,
Look at his dumb
the
headphones.
people
He's
that
smart. Look at him. He's a smart guy. Duh. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no, this the way that he's talking about it is surprising me from him. Yeah.
It's not that surprising to me. Like, well, once again, the part where I agreed with Michael Tracey was going over the logic of the Trump administration trying to deal with this and just dancing around. But his actual takes on the actual case, it seems like a I wish I was smart type person. All right, I'm
Well,
looking at him from head to below shoulders. Pause. I look at him like, okay, you're like, okay. It's like I don't know. That's not a fair assessment, but that's me vibing off of someone like, oh, okay. What are you doing here? What's going on? Why
I,
are you wearing
I mean,
Walkman
so
headphones? What's going on?
I, as far as he's said, like I have a feeling that he's going to have some direct, like flat out lies. Just the way he's structuring things. I don't know, but I would say like, how are you going to talk about like the what they did present, because he's making it sound like, well, like these are like sensational things. There wasn't really much there, or they don't have evidence. But how are you going to refer to the things that they do have that they're not showing, right? Like what they showed us in the video of the prison and things like that. Like like are you going to just say that they really don't have anything and they're not hiding anything? And suddenly they're
Well,
coming up with new documents which
Yeah.
are not new. Like there's obviously much more that exists that they just haven't shown you yet, and they didn't want to show you. So like that's very inconsistent to the way he's framing everything.
Well, he'd have to make a theory. He'd have to come up with his own conspiracy theory, essentially, right? Of like, well, why are they hiding this? Is it to grab attention? Like maybe they're using this as a distraction from other things they're doing, right? So thus they sensationalize the story and give a little bit of evidence of something, but also not give it to you, and then like dance around with it to keep you distracted, right? It's like, okay, well then you have to replace that has to be your theory of the thing, right? Your conspiracy of the thing. Either way, you end up in that scenario,
also,
anyways. What's up?
also, you have to keep in mind that they've classified everything about these two people, their court cases and everything. So the public's never seen it.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
he's sitting here making claims. Well, there's classified court cases.
Yeah.
How do you make a claim? You're not seeing it either.
I think it's something where he's trying to showcase how, like, look how dumb Trump fans are, but look how smart I am. That's what it smells like a little bit. You know?
Well, I mean, it just proves that they're full of crap in the sense that it's classified for you, it's classified for me. You don't have that clearance. I don't have that clearance. You don't know what I don't know.
Yeah. Agreed.
He made it a statement of fact. Like he said, Epstein um, uh, was not like it was all like what is it? It was just for himself, right? Like
No,
he's
he
not
didn't say
partying.
that. He didn't say that.
He's not um
He didn't say that.
uh
See, he qualified with they aren't prominent, like prominent clientele, right? He's saying like, okay, it's not some sort of like celebrity thing that I guess he's looking at, QAnon people on Twitter, and he's like, see, look, guys, it's not that. But he didn't say it wasn't like they could have been trafficked to just regular ass creepers, right? He didn't like. He kind of qualified it by saying prominent. He snuck those words. I heard him sneak those words in.
okay.
But
Well, Prince Andrews. Now,
And he's still done
I
for
would say
that.
we don't have any hard evidence there. The picture with her is not hard evidence, but like just watching him, like I think people, like can really draw their own conclusions of like the type of stress the guy put himself through just to answer some simple questions, right? Like,
yeah,
something was he was hiding things like very clearly when asked about anything related to it.
yeah. It's I don't know, and maybe this is an unfair comparison, but it's like someone making a claim about 9/11, and then he's referring to the 9/11 Commission. That's what it's sounding like so far right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's necessarily fair. Like, forget about like being fair like to a person, but like fair intellectually. I don't think it's actually fair, based on the shit as far as evidence, like the Alex Acosta thing, talking about intelligence things and all that stuff. The sweetheart deal he got in 2000, like, what was that based on? Was it just he's rich? Okay, you just do that. Well, then that's its own conspiracy at that point. So why aren't you investigating that? Right? So like either way you look at this, you end up going down some sort of conspiracy rabbit hole somewhere. At least the way I see it. But all right, let's continue. I'm starting to realize why Ben has him on.
I can't believe you're watching this.
Better late than never.
Mm.
But all right, here we go.
So Michael Tracey's basically turned into Alan Dershowitz, but go ahead.
I mean, he just used Alan Dershowitz as like a.
I'm sure he did. They've been quote tweeting each other and
viable source.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Proceed, sir.
All right, here we go.
Empirical evaluation of this story.
So, Michael,
So
the big
smart,
question I think that people have, and I think the reason that they are so incensed about this entire case is because very often people don't look at these cases at a granular level. They don't read even, as you say, the court records. They don't actually check the evidence. They instead get a sort of gestalt of the case, and that gestalt is sort of like an ex-post version of the case, like 140 characters. This case in 140 characters, and
people are asking for evidence. Not everyone. There are people looking for Tom Hanks and Whoopi Goldberg or something. But there are people like that are serious research that looking for evidence.
Though?
What?
Yeah, I would love.
Why'd you say Whoopi Goldberg though?
She's on The View, celebrity. That's why.
I would love to see the court records. Please point me to where the court records are in Ben Shapiro.
Well, I did a video earlier, Dubster, where I'm like, yo, you don't like. They're saying now that they have evidence that they didn't release originally, like the video footage. They're like, okay, maybe we cut out a couple minutes of that, so we'll give you the real version. It's like, wait a minute, someone had to beg and cry for that instead of you just releasing that off rip. And then they're saying like, okay, there's two different camera angles also in the little jailhouse thing that they were, I guess, holding back too. It was like, well, wait a minute. Like, you said you were only hiding child porn from us, but even that's not good enough. Not saying release that to the public, but like, you can have third-party people that can handle these things and observe the evidence and like do descriptors, I guess, do descriptions of it, I guess. Maybe not the graphic parts, but like the evidence parts, like who, what, where's, and when's type of things, video forensics, on and so forth, right?
Who would be this third party
to
do this in this administration?
I don't know. That's why I'm just saying, like, on the surface, right?
No, I understand that, but it's like would people like, because they can play it off as like, oh well, whoever they would have, no one would trust it because they don't trust the administration.
Exactly. But
so in a way, it's kind of like, what do we do? Like, what would have to be done that would like satisfy people to a certain degree?
I understand that, but you don't take that for granted with investigations, right?
No, I don't. I agree with that, but I'm just thinking about it logistically in terms of with this administration, like who would be?
Oh, yeah.
If they're like, or any administration, honestly, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this third party looking at it. Okay, yeah, they said everything's in the clear. Like, is that just like another layer of like the Bongino, Patel crazy eyes cover up? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
and yes, I agree. But at the same time, I'm thinking of like, if they, in a magical world where they meant to do the right, like, wouldn't they go through those avenues? I think they would, right?
Absolutely.
To be as like transparent as possible, right? But instead, they're getting caught for not releasing certain things that aren't child porn, by the way. They're getting caught for not releasing those things too. So it's like, okay.
And if they were smart, wouldn't they just say like they had a third person doing it and that everything was fine? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like they want this bad publicity. As weird as that sounds, like it doesn't make sense to me.
I say possibly either that or they're playing it by ear, and which is just not going to. Like they're going like event by event. Like, okay, fuck, they're not happy with this. All right, just say we're investigating this. Like press release this. We are investigating this thing or that thing about Epstein. Like they're like playing it by ear almost, like event by event. They're just like remaking up new excuses.
Like they're delegitimizing themselves. Like that's what it's, because like who is gonna trust anything? Like it.
Alex
I don't.
Jones.
It's like they want to turn everybody into like an anarchist or something.
Alex Jones for sure is buying into every little second of this. Apparently.
True, but I meant like people who don't work for the State Department. You know what I mean? Like regular people. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, it's kind of in your, like, some of the statements, especially like today's, not even especially today. I'm sure each day where you hear more and more from these guys, not these guys, but like from the administration, it's just like, they're just like, hey guys, how stupid are you? Like, just consistently asking that. How dumb are you? Like over and over and over again. How dumb are you guys? Really? Huh? Do you believe this? How dumb are you? Like that's what I'm seeing as like a theme of each little information drop, I guess, of all of this.
It's incredibly disrespectful to their own audience. Like,
yeah.
All
right, here we go.
One of the elements that people remain very skeptical of and have open questions about, I think justifiably, is where the hell Jeffrey Epstein got his money. So there are a lot of questions about Les Wexner and Leon Black, people signing hundreds of millions of dollars over to Jeffrey Epstein for money management. And then it appears that Jeffrey Epstein, at least according to Leon Black, took some of that money. Now, why was he getting those amounts of money? This leads people to believe that the only reason you would do that is because you're being blackmailed. And so if he was blackmailing them, maybe he was blackmailing others. That sort of that situation with Wexner and Black particularly is used as sort of the gateway into the rest of the theory about Epstein. What do you make of Black, Wexner, where Epstein got his cash?
Well,
pause it
first,
really
just
quick.
in terms of
he mentions Leon Black, and it's so funny to me how the conservative media never talks about how Leon Black was also on the board of Burisma, exactly where Hunter Biden was on the board of. And he worked with like Eric Prince and like the whole, the quote unquote like Republican wing, of the demented bird that they're the two wings of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just always very interesting because they never like bring that connection in terms of like Leon Black and how he, just the Ukraine connection. I just want to put that out there in case,
okay,
they don't bring this up. Go ahead.
I definitely didn't know that. So the more information, the better. So all right, here we go.
Wexner,
and I never even heard that name before, by the way. Almost
thought Leon Black was part of George Bush's Iraq One. Like he was part of that crowd, and then he started. He was on the board of Blackwater. With Eric Prince and like very involved with that, and in the conservative space, like in the Pentagon, like that part of the world. And then he was on the board of Burisma, that Ukrainian gas company thing. That they like talk about Hunter Biden, laptop from hell, Burisma.
Yeah.
Like he literally was part of the same exact board. So I just always found it interesting that like that never came up in their, investigations. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Just want to put that out there.
I initially thought CIA, but I'm like, wait a minute,
he was CIA.
Okay, I was thinking of like Leon Panetta, right? As like the CIA guy. I think it was like the head of the CIA at some point.
That's a different guy.
Yeah, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the right guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Leon Black was CIA too.
I mean,
yeah.
If he's involved in all this shit, yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, but very close with Eric Brandt's Blackwater, like that, like the private mercenary stuff. So it's interesting, private mercenaries and gas companies. Funny how that works.
Fair enough.
But proceed.
All right, here we go.
Epstein got his cash.
Well, first, just in terms of how people absorb information about this story, you're right. They're absorbing the most kind of tantalizing snippets that they consume on social media or in popular media, or, for example, on Netflix. There's a hugely popular Netflix documentary on this that came out in 2020. I think one of the problems, and I'll address the issue of Epstein's wealth in a moment, but one of the problems with this, with the public perception, is that really is informed by a lot of popular media that was overly credulous toward the purported victims. That did not identify that there was an obvious financial incentive for the purported victims, who I'm not disclaiming have any claim to have been harmed whatsoever in every respect, but still, there's a very clear incentive for these people to have dramatized their claims or made the most maximalist versions of their claims, because you know why? Especially upon Epstein's death, by way of his estate, and then by way of settlements with J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank, an enormous amount of money became available for self-identified victims to petition for. And under the terms of these settlements, quite unusual and quite remarkable, the victims were permitted to file claims for remuneration up to $5 million with the Epstein estate in a format that was non-adversarial and confidential. So they were not going to be cross-examined, and they were not going to be publicly disclosed. So there was no...
Wait. Hold on. But they don't need it to be a whole conspiracy for that, right? They don't need like Bill Clinton's name to be on a list somewhere, right? In order for them to... But this guy wronged me, so... Is Michael Tracey saying like that didn't even happen? Or that these girls were they like willing to do it or something? Is he going there? Am I tripping? He's saying that their money, or that Epstein had money freed up, and thus there's a motivation for these girls to try to get money out of it. So are you saying like they weren't groomed or abused or anything like that? What's he saying there with that? Like, am I misreading him?
Basically making the victims look discredited by having motivation of, hey, get the money now before we distribute it out because he's dead.
Yeah, but
if he is doing that, he would be wrong because
your audio is very low, Dubster. I'll turn you up a bit.
I'm being quiet.
Okay, sorry.
So, one thing he's getting wrong here is if that is what he's doing, these girls were recruited as getting into modeling. As far as the story goes, that's the Jean-Luc guy. He was the recruiter for them. As in, we're going to connect you through modeling. Just get along with Epstein and you're golden. But they're underage.
Yeah, but hold on. But I'm saying like, even if they aren't, or if they were just simply like it was just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell by themselves, and they were just dirty freaks trying to attract underage girls or young girls or whatever the fuck, right? You don't need, Bill Clinton and whoever the fuck involved in order to I guess, sue for money, right? Like that would be enough, right? I would assume so. That would be enough. So thus, any type of claim on top of that would almost be like overkill. If they're once again going off the idea that, like, let's say they're full of shit, right? Let's say they're lying or something. I think the sexual claims would be enough. They don't need to go over the top and like, well, Bill Clinton was there too, and Alan Dershowitz was there, and whatever, right? There'd be no need to do that, I would think, logically. But he is the way Tracey's going over. He's just, I don't know. It's like he's almost Alex Jones. He's just writing a story on his. What it was like, that's what it sounds like. Instead of being like, okay, let's be quote unquote as objective as I possibly can. Like step back, hear it all out. He's going with like, well, the money freed up and they want some money out of it. Which is just, to me, very bizarre. But okay, let's hear him out. Maybe he has something here. Here we go.
File claims for remuneration.
He has nothing.
$5 million with the Epstein estate in a format that was non-adversarial and confidential. So they were not going to be cross-examined, and they were not going to be publicly disclosed. So there was no.
So the idea is like if they were cross-examined, they'd be fucked, right? Like, oh, the burden of evidence, they'd be fucked. The cross-examine would shut them down and showcase that they're full of shit. So thus, boom.
Well, one case is not going to be enough evidence anyway in a court, like especially if it's been so long. But if it's like a consistent amount of women coming out and kind of saying very similar things, like that's part of the case that they would be building. It wouldn't be based on like one person being cross-examined. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes.
So these are modeling agencies that had hundreds of women, kids, trying out, doing, you know what I mean? Like trying to make it, whatever. Yeah. I think Barbizon was another one of these like modeling agencies. Elite was like one of the older, right? Like the ones who've hit puberty, right? But before that, there's like Barbizon or whatever, and you graduate to these levels. So anyway, it's just a lot of it happened a long time ago. So like it's kind of hard to like prove. Oh, like how do you prove that you were in even in this modeling agency? Because back then they didn't really have all that stuff digitized. So unless you had parents who kept track of all that stuff, you wouldn't even really be able to prove that you were there. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
there's a lot of like nuance that he's kind of just.
I can smell this guy probably wants to be like some sort of hyper rational explanation for every little thing. And we have court documents that explains everything, and it's all settled right here. And this lady didn't sue, so thus that means, there wasn't something happening here. Like, that's not life, though, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how life works.
She can't even prove that she was part of this, this company or this talent agency at this time. Like, who keeps those papers? Like, unless you have some parent who's, like, a lawyer or something, you know what I mean? That, like, keeps everything.
Exactly. Where's the rape kit? Where's it at, huh? It's like, well, this happened in whatever year back then. When no one's thinking about that, they're just like traumatized from an experience.
Like, and getting scammed, by the way, by those companies who charge you hundreds of dollars to get those photographs done. Anyway.
And I have to add in the story from today where Trump said, "Oh, Epstein was stealing employees from him. They were apparently underage girls that were being stolen from Trump's spa in Mar-a-Lago, and that's why he kicked Epstein out." According to Trump, he could be lying or playing a game or bullshitting, but according to his words,
he was stealing.
Yes, he was stealing.
I thought he was stealing workers. So did they work there, the underage girls?
Yes, that according to Trump, that's what he's saying.
What'd they do over there? What was their job?
At a spa. My heart hopes they were like
underage?
folding towels or something, like a summer job folding towels or something. But something tells me.
But don't you have to be 15 and 9 months to have a job in America?
I got nothing for you. I got nothing.
Unless the laws are different in Florida, maybe you.
You can be 16 and
In Maryland, you have to be 15
jobs
in 9 months.
To do farm work in Kansas, it was 15. That's how I got my farmer's permit.
Yeah, to get a worker's permit, you have to be 15 in like 6 months or 9 months or something. I'm pretty sure there's like a federal law, right?
But I don't know what spa rules are. Different businesses have different rules.
No, but each state or there's going to be federal and state regulations as well in terms of like work permits for children. Correct.
Right.
Well, let me throw this out here, which was part of the point I was going at, which is Michael Tracey brought up Alan Dershowitz, right? And everyone knows the famous quote of "I kept my underwear on," right, by Alan Dershowitz, talking about a massage he had, right? And Trump had a spa.
Which placed him in the scene.
Yes, and Trump had a spa where Epstein was stealing employees to go do some shit with Epstein, which apparently was massages and, like, I guess, kind of spa treatment, which was like Dershowitz is essentially like in a way confirming that in a way, not the Trump stuff, but like he's like confirming like, okay, they were underage girls, but they were doing massages, but I didn't do anything sexual with them. That's his idea of things, right?
Wait a minute. So then Trump is confirming. Hold on, I'm like mind fucked right now. I did not know that he said that. So.
I'm saying. Now, when he was asked about Virginia Giuffre, if I'm saying her name right,
I think
he didn't sound extremely confident, but he sounded like someone asked him, like, was Virginia Giuffre one of these employees? He's like, yeah, she was. She's one of the employees that was taken from me by Epstein. Like he poached him.
He said that?
Yes, he said that. Like, yeah, that's her name. Yeah, that's her. And you can ask her, like, he actually reconfirmed it by saying, like, you can ask her yourself. I didn't do any. We did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong.
You could ask her yourself?
She's dead now.
She's dead.
Yeah, I know, but.
Sorry.
His idea. Like, I don't know if okay.
That's crazy.
Do not quote me on that part.
Yeah.
He might be saying, like, okay, look it up. Look it up. She said nothing bad about us, or we didn't do anything wrong.
She did. She did say, if you read her lawsuit thing, no, Trump was just a nice guy to me.
Well, that's what Michael Tracey uses, because he's like, look, like, she's saying all these nice things about Trump. Like, why? Like, why is that? Like, why is she?
She says 4 sentences about Trump. In her lawsuit, there's 4 sentences about Trump.
I know.
It's not like she's overly saying he's awesome. It's just she just says, yeah, he was there. He didn't do anything to me. He's nice. He's a gentleman.
She said it in that supposed tape that she released as well, where she's like, "Oh, Trump is a good man. He never did anything. He was always like very protective of the workers." She said that in her. Well, I don't know if it was real or not. People say it was AI, but she apparently released like a video after she died, or some sort of thing that appears after you die, like the death thing. I forget what it's called, but dead man switch.
Yeah.
That thing. Yeah.
I can't.
Dead woman.
I can't.
I don't know, but she. I just know that she has said positive things about him, which maybe that was her experience with Trump. I don't know, but that's been used to discredit her. Is all I'm saying by the other side.
I'm just saying, like, it just for me, it just sounded weird that these girls were working for Trump, and then I guess Epstein poached them. And that's what he was mad. According to him, that's what he was mad about. That he was stealing employees from him, and then these employees end up doing like, I guess, similar circumstance job of like. I'm not saying like, Virginia Giuffre was like doing massages in Epstein's mar-a-lago, in Trump's mar-a-lago thing, right? But apparently she ended up doing that with Epstein, right? Doing massages and shit like that. So
maybe she's one of the workers he stole. She did say she worked at Mar-a-Lago on the golf course.
Well, there you go. I can't say exactly what's happening there. I can't. But
she was one of the the people that take orders from the people who are golfing. I forget. Yeah, like the golfing attendant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like,
I mean, which they do have like attractive women doing that. That's usually that's not a like at the country clubs, whatever. Like,
well, I mean,
it's not.
attractive
I'm not saying that's right. I'm just
16-year-olds
saying
or whatever. It's like that's
no,
kinda
they're not
crazy.
16. Well, sometimes they'll be underage, but they'll be because you're allowed to serve alcohol when you're underage. You just can't pour it. So it could have been like a summer job where it's like, oh, I'm just working at the golf course because I've known people who worked at golf courses who were servers. But they were underage and they were not because they couldn't pour the drinks, but they could serve the drinks, if that makes sense.
In Kansas, it was you could serve alcohol if you're 18, but you couldn't be a pourer, like you're saying, a bartender until you're 21.
But even how some country clubs will be like, oh, you can serve beer or whatever. I don't know. Like, who knows if they did it by the book? Like, they could have just let underage people serve alcohol. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, well, I considered that
I'm
too.
not like justifying it. I'm just like thinking of.
No, like I considered that as well. Of like a kid having like a summer job, and there's like whatever working at the spa, like folding towels or something, right? They're not actually doing anything weird, like they're doing laundry or something, right? And then, but then the idea was like, okay, Epstein was recruiting girls out of that thing there.
Like, how many underage workers did you have?
And,
like, I don't.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's like Trump not noticing that he's picking out whatever pretty teenagers or something. I guess is the idea. So it's like him it's him being like I guess oblivious to that. Like, did Epstein have his own like resort thing going on? Where it's like, okay, this makes sense that he's taking these girls to go, but that'd be weird, right? Like, I'm gonna take these girls that are doing menial jobs and stealing them.
His house?
Yeah, that should be like, what the fuck? But whatever. I brought it up. It is what it is. All right. Yeah. Let's keep going. Here we go.
Downside reputational risk if they, let's say, inflated some of their claims and file claims for remuneration up to $5 million with the Epstein estate in a format that was non-adversarial and confidential. So they were not going to be cross-examined, and they were not going to be publicly disclosed.
I just want to say, like, last thing I'll say, like, this is not that he's not doing this with good intention. I don't know. I mean, he could really believe this, but like, this is exactly the kind of reason why people don't come forward with this kind of stuff. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the reason why, like, most people actually don't come forward with it. They're like, oh, I don't have much. I don't want to be attacked. I don't want, like, this is literally, I'm not saying that he's doing this on purpose or he's like these people, but like,
I'll say
this is
he's
why.
doing it on purpose.
So when people make settlements, the viewers or like the political divide is on whose side you're on. When you hear about somebody made a settlement, you don't know the details of the settlement. That's always a secret. But what he's saying here, this $5 million settlement, it's you and I, the general public, will never hear what that settlement is about.
Because there's no discovery if there's a settlement.
Right.
There's not public record.
Yeah.
The reason they're settling is so that there is no discussion about what the problem was. And that can be either side, and you just choose whose side you want to be on from the things they say around what they can say about it, and then where they shut up. There's like a point where they can talk like in favor, and then there's a point where they have to shut up.
Almost like an NDA, almost in a way.
Yeah, it is because it's like, and then everything's sealed. Like all the documents, like there's no discovery at all. It's just like,
or
that's it.
Or the guy, dies in his jail cell, and thus the case is kind of closed, and there's no follow-up investigation or evidence that could have been pushed forward. Maybe got stopped because he's dead now. So why are we doing that? Right?
Yeah.
But okay, all right.
Well, he's saying like they would make the claims now to take it from the estate as they're kind of distributing money that they have separated for this. And from what I'm hearing him say is they're like because they have 5 million allocated for each, it sounds like they're motivated to exaggerate. I mean, he's not around anyways. So, like, the way he's describing it, it all makes it sound like
A money grab.
a money grab. Like, yeah. So he's making the victims sound like greedy fucks, right?
Yeah.
And that's taking that's taking the victims. That's favoring the victims without knowing. But the other side is, well, he paid out so that there would never be any like blasphemy upon him.
Wait.
That would be the
what
other
do you mean?
side.
What do you mean? How's it favoring the victim? What do you mean by that?
The way you perceive that is you looked at it like the victims were being ridiculed by this guy Tracey. But I'm saying,
okay,
just because they were paid out the 5 million, you and I will never know what's in that reasoning for why they got 5 million. But just be on the side of the victims is your choice. Or you can do what they're doing, and they're on the side of Epstein. Like, oh, he wasn't a bad guy. He just needed them to stop ridiculing him.
But you could see someone like,
well, it adds up. Like you're gonna conclude.
But why would you pay if you don't have the person doesn't have a case? It just
because they're ridiculing your name, and you just need them to stop.
Okay, but like the idea, like for me at least, like I'm considering the idea, like there could be people where it's like, yo, someone did something fucked up with me, and I want like some sort of restitution for that. I want like they could actually want the money and also have the idea like this guy did some creepy shit with me and with other people, right? That they can both exist at the same time, right? It doesn't have to exclusively be like, okay, we're doing this for money, the way Michael's kind of making it seem. I think, right? You can have someone who's like, yo, I got fucked over. I want to be, I want to be made whole in a way, quote unquote, made whole from this.
Yeah.
So how these things normally work is it's usually a rich person that's been accused of something sexual on somebody, and they pay them to shut up. And
yes, but that's like civil, right? Isn't that like civil dispute?
Hold on.
Versus criminal.
But you and I never know if that person is actually guilty of what he's being accused of by this person.
Yeah.
They're just paid off, and then they don't. The person getting paid off never tells anybody again the details.
Well, they can't.
Right.
It's contingent on,
So them accepting the money means they're okay to an extent with what occurred. Maybe they're not exactly okay.
Hold on.
They're not okay. Hold on. They're not exactly okay with it. I just don't know how else to say it. It's just they've accepted money versus telling the public this is a piece of shit that did a crime against me.
Okay.
I don't know if
like taking the settlement. And then sometimes they're forced to take the settlements. And then the other way is like the person that is giving out the settlement could be in a situation where like I'm super rich, and if I have this ridicule on my name, it could cost my company everything, and maybe I'm not guilty. I don't know.
And you're saying whether it's true or not, right? You're saying
it can harm their finances or it can tarnish their name. That's why they kind of made that a thing, because it's not original constitutional thing.
Completely different scenario, though. This scenario, I think, is way different than that.
Right. And I conclude with you that I think the victims are the victims.
Well, we have to hear what they like. We can't just like, I don't know, just like cut them off and say like, well, look, these guys. Tammy didn't have the greatest background. She was poor. She didn't have money, and thus she did this $5 billion settlement in order to take this money. Like I can't just do that, like Michael Tracey's doing, in my opinion. I can't just do that personally, considering the circumstances of the scenario.
It wasn't just one. I don't think it was one person got $5 million. I think it was
it's hypothetical scenario. I'm saying, hypothetically, I'm saying like of a scenario, because they never actually had their day in court. Actually, like to go over the whole Epstein thing, and to me, to let it go is the same as continuing, going further with it, right? Because the guy's dead, right? He died. Who knows the circumstances of that shit? But like, to let it go is like, well, he's dead, so it's over. But at the same time, you could be like, okay, let's investigate more because, like, okay, it's over, but he's dead. We can't convict him of something because he's dead. But we can find out the truth of the matter. Why not do that as human beings? Right? And once again, I'm not trying to make this the biggest topic of all time. There's so many things happening in the world. Right? But this one grabbed a shit ton of attention. It did. And to just throw it in the garbage that'd be crazy to me. Like, I don't think anything should be thrown in the garbage. Like, in any court
you know
case,
where it was never talked about?
Anything. What's up?
You know where it was never talked about? Where it was never talked about? And I agree with Michael Tracey, but I also disagree with him on it. He opened this whole fucking, like, essay since he's been talking with, well, the mainstream media didn't talk about it, so everybody else that's, like, not big news, they got to come up with their own ideas. So you're relying on mainstream media, and mainstream media didn't talk about it at all. So what does that fucking tell you?
Well, I think he looks at people as like, you're dumb if you look at the Epstein case or you focus on it. All right, I think that's where he's going.
So he's
Well,
relying.
He equates it with like Pizzagate and like
media.
the whole QAnon.
Which
yeah.
Same, yeah.
He's saying it has no credit because it wasn't on mainstream media. We're saying it has credit because it wasn't on mainstream media.
Well, for me, it's like, make everything important. That's where I'm coming from. But, Michael Tracey. All right, let's continue. Here we go. Good God.
Format that was non-adversarial and confidential. So they were not going to be cross-examined, and they were not going to be publicly disclosed. So there was no downside reputational risk if they, let's say, inflated some of their claims in order to maximize their prospects of obtaining the largest possible financial settlement. Yeah. And when
he's making claims right here,
he's trying to say that's smart.
None of this context is given, nor are the demonstrable confabulations of some of the victims that they feature noted, because this a lot of the renewed interest around the story did flow from Me Too. Julie K. Brown, the author of that Miami Herald series that really reinvigorated the Epstein story, actually, she claims, inspired prosecutors to go after him again after the non-prosecution agreement in the 2000s. Me Too has a large cultural role here, and of course, what's like a central tenet of Me Too? Believe victims, believe women. I thought people on the right were those mantras, but oddly on this subject, they seem to have bought into the Me Too mentality in certain respects. And so, but
I'm starting to think Michael got Me Too'd or something. He's got girls out there that haven't been disclosed yet running around here. Like, yeah, this guy did some weird sexual shit with me. Michael's like, I need to get ahead of this. It's just the stupid inferior intellect Me Too movement has that's what he fucking sounds like.
He always reminds me why I dislike him. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, oh, Michael Tracey's making some interesting points, and then like he comes back to himself and like, oh right, I forgot. This is why. Ugh.
I was saying
a little bit earlier, he's gonna like straight up lie to us. Like it was a feeling, but now yeah.
I leave room for shit, but I gave him points for like, I don't know. I was like, okay, he's seeing that the Trump administration is just dancing around this like just dancing around with it, like excuses and the whole like kind of movie-looking scenery of the whole situation and the way they're handling it. But I guess he's like full blown, like, yeah, it's like, what would be the point, Michael? What's the point of this? Is it just we want sensationalism? Is that what we're looking for the whole time as regular people? Go ahead. Anyone?
Go ahead, Doc.
So he started this whole thing out like trying to like explain, well, there's not really evidence, but now he's Alex Jones and starting to be like, well, yeah, these ladies were exaggerating or confabulations and Me Too. Like, yeah, you're supposed to believe women. That's the movement. And so he's like mocking. He's just this is and what is the evidence of any of those things? Like he's just making shit up now.
And look at the platform he's on, Jesse.
Oh yeah, I
Discussing
noticed
this.
like the opening scene of this video. Like he was actually like really happy for some reason, like right in the opening, and that was before. Like I mean, he's on Ben Shapiro's show, so and they don't usually like they're not people who are always like aligned. So that the opening scene seemed really odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
I introed this with debate. I was
now
wrong.
I think about it in retrospect.
Wait, this was supposed to be a debate, but they both agree.
No. I actually assume. I'm like, okay, this must be a debate or something. I mean, I gave room for the other way around too, but I was like, oh, maybe they're debating this topic. But go ahead, Dubster. Go ahead.
Now that I think in retrospect about Me Too, I'm pretty sure there was more people I believe were guilty of raping women in Hollywood than there
dear Lord.
were not.
Dubster is buying into the Me Too movement. Oh my dear Lord!
No,
mark this day in history. Mark this day in history.
I'm not buying it.
I'm telling Alyssa Milano right now.
Oh my God. I'm not buying into it. What I'm saying is, out of the numbers of the people accused, there was more that I'm pretty sure the general census is, oh yeah, they raped him, than less. More than less.
Well, let me ask you, Dubster. If they said, okay, we're going to dangle your career in front of your eyes, unless you sleep with me, then you can get whatever roles you want. Is that rape to you? I think it is. What do you think, Dubster?
It is some form of coercion, of course.
Yeah, but that is sexual abuse. Would you go there?
Well, it depends on what she's wearing, Jordan. Clearly.
Okay. Oh wait, Dubster. Where are you at, Dubster, with that?
I'm just saying, like, there might be 5 people. I need the list in front of me. All the people accused.
He's trying to dance his way out of this.
To really think about it deeply, but I'm pretty sure there's more people that were accused. That I'm pretty sure they raped those girls.
And logically, I see a scenario where there's a lot more than we even heard of, most likely, right? And I'm not even saying like conspiracy, eyes wide shut, fucking sex groups and all that, like orgies and all that. I mean like just simple as someone taking advantage of another person, male or female. It doesn't matter. Like I can see those scenarios happening for sure.
It happens most within families.
Yeah, I was going with the Hollywood context, but yeah, I'm sure that
like regular people, family, family friend, because that's the people that would be closest to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I brought up the idea like I was saying like I think the Me Too thing actually led to like Epstein becoming a giant story actually in the first place.
Right. There was only 3 people that got convicted for Me Too. It was Harvey Weinstein, the guy from That 70s Show, and Bill Cosby. 40 people got accused.
You can say court convictions versus like public opinion convictions. Right. There's a lot more names than that. Of public opinion. Right. But all right. Let's continue with Michael Tracey telling us.
Hold on, I have a question really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You saw that Candace Owens had on Harvey Weinstein from jail, right? And she was.
I did not see that, but go ahead.
Well, I didn't watch it, but I saw that she was defending him, saying like, "Oh, this case doesn't make sense." It's just interesting how she's like going super hard with the Epstein thing, but like taking prison phone calls from Harvey Weinstein. I'm just curious as to like how you square that circle.
I mean, whatever works, you know, whatever.
True. I guess she is kind of makeshift grifter.
Yeah, I probably have harsher words for what I think the Candace phenomenon is, but I had no idea
I was just
that
curious
happened.
how she.
No idea.
Yeah. She's been on his defense. Like she had him on her show, and he was from prison, like called in. Yeah, interesting.
Okay, so another hero of ours just falls to the ground again. Another fallen star, Candace Owens. God dang it, she was such a hero to me, and she's apparently full of shit.
She'll always be here to me if she wears it on.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Anyways, moving on. Here we go.
The Me Too mentality in certain respects.
Me Too mentality.
But I'm willing to acknowledge or concede anything that is demonstrably within the factual record. I want to be as evidence-based as possible. And so it's easy to see why people are so intrigued.
It sounds like Tim Pool talking about Lauren Southern.
Such a sustained
That's what it's reminding me of.
And one of the components is Epstein's wealth. Would I love for there to be a full forensic audit of every aspect of Epstein's wealth, like where he stored it? Were there overseas accounts? Seems probable. I mean, this guy was an international jet setter who did consort with an astonishing array of prominent individuals, whether it was former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak or the British royal family. I mean, this is known. And so,
speaking of that, what about the Prince Andrew thing? Is Michael Tracey also dismissing that idea? Was that maybe he doesn't consider that trafficking or whatever? But I'm pretty sure, like, is he going to take that away from Virginia Giuffre as well? About Prince Andrew?
They dropped all those cases against him.
Oh, okay. So it never happened then. Got it.
Because I think he wasn't allowed in the U.S., right?
I don't know his circumstances, but if I had to guess, some shenanigans were happening with all of that.
I think there's like a warrant out for him or something. And then now they've like closed the case, or I mean, she's passed away or died or what's, I don't know.
Prince Andrew was scared to come to the United States in case he could be arrested.
Because there was charges against him, right?
It was never made public that there was any charges against him.
Virginia did.
Yeah.
But the threat of him being arrested was always lingering, so he didn't want to come here under fear.
But then now he's fine, though, right? Because everything's dropped?
Yeah, that's what he announced. That's what he's announced.
But we saw the public interview, though, right? Of Prince Andrew and how shaky he kind of looked in regards to that.
I don't sweat. I have this rare condition that I don't sweat, but now I sweat again.
He looked like he was going to throw up.
Like, was that, well, once again, not for us, but for Michael Tracey, like, yo, is that like am I making that up? Are we seeing things that aren't there? All right. Well, isn't like the famous picture of Virginia Giuffre is it's her with Prince Andrew, right? That's the famous picture. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yep.
So
he said because I was in the military, I didn't sweat for a time period in life, and now I can sweat again. Like literally sweat. He's not joking in that interview. It's fucking crazy.
Fuck my life, dude. Okay. All right, Michael. Here we go.
It would not shock me at all if we still lack the full contours of the information as to how he accumulated that wealth. So I'm all in favor of maximum disclosure, transparency, but there is a lot on the record.
About
it's not
investigation.
like a total mystery. We do know that he got in with Wexner, who was at that point one of the most wealthy people in the United States. He owned Victoria's Secret. That's probably how Epstein ended up cavorting with Donald Trump, because they both, shared, let's say, an interest in attractive young models. Trump was a beauty pageant proprietor, so it's like not that unfathomable that he would have crossed paths with Epstein in this regard,
including younger.
So in terms of
pageants.
the wealth, I mean, look, if I say anything that's considered as positive about Epstein,
I'm just saying
it's not because I'm trying to defend the morality of the man or make an ethical argument in favor of him in any real respect. But I think there is some evidence that he had some skill and intelligence in terms of financial management. I mean, he was recruited into Bear Stearns, having been a math teacher with no college degree, because I think he demonstrated
a math teacher with
acuity in complex financial maneuvers that were in
that's bullshit.
Wall Street at the time.
I'm wrecked by that.
Trades are public. We could see the trades.
He just called this.
Show me the trades.
Yeah. Wait, Jesse. Is he calling him like just naturally mathematically gifted? Right? Is he saying that?
Yeah. This guy, he dropped out, but he was like the janitor, and he would solve problems. Like he would just,
Are you saying Goodwill Hunting? Or not? He's just
Yep.
When the classes leave, he's just on the chalkboard, just like correcting the teacher's equation.
Yeah, he was able to get a job as a math teacher without that. Does
Let me ask you this, Jesse.
They say he was bad at it, actually, but I think he got fired from that. Yeah.
Fuck my life.
If you make a trade on the stock market, don't you sign something?
Oh yeah, because there's
public,
obviously a record
public
there,
slips or something. Right?
And if you have a hedge fund, as they claimed he had, you have to file those 13F forms quarterly.
That's public, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nobody's looked at that stuff somehow.
Yeah, so
public information. Yeah,
that's never been presented, but it's public information.
Right, because it appears that he wasn't actually trading.
Well, you would think a journalist would find that, right? If they wanted the big scoop on something, right? They'd trace where he got his money, right?
Well, Michael Tracey is a journalist, and he just used this as evidence of his competence.
He's not gonna show his evidence, though, right?
No, he's not even gonna look at it himself, because like he's doing like exactly what he's accusing others of doing.
Listen.
Hey, I'm willing to believe you, Michael Tracey. Just show me the evidence you want the other side to present. Show your side's evidence.
Listen, Michael's an old school
guy. And you can't really become a math teacher without graduating college. Like, apparently he did, but there's some fraud right there, right? Like,
yeah. Listen, Michael, he doesn't use the internet, okay? He has same glasses since 3rd grade. He's wearing Walkman headphones. He's old school, okay? Not good.
So once again, you put him as math teacher, he's around kids again.
Well, no one knew that back then, right? No one would know that, so. I
mean, it doesn't help his case.
Well, Michael Tracey's saying, like, okay, maybe he was like a predator type of guy, quote unquote predator. I fucking hate that term, but whatever. He's a predator, right? But there's no evidence that he would, use his, I guess, apparently like fucking NBA league lineup of fucking young girls to use against other people or sell them to other people or whatever, right? There's no way he would do that. So, and there's no proof of it either, by the way. No proof, as far as the courts are concerned. All right, here we go.
Was that the only factor? Perhaps not, but it was certainly one of them. He made partner, or he had a senior level, a relatively high level position in Bear Stearns, like in his early to mid 20s. And then he went out on his own and kind of marketed himself as somebody who had this exclusive clientele of extremely high worth individuals.
Oh, PBD?
Perhaps like people with $1 billion or more in 1980s dollars. So that's a very rarefied clientele. And perhaps he developed this relationship with Wexner, and maybe there are some shady dealings there that ought to be more illuminated. I'm all in favor of that. I just object to the logical leap that people are so excited to take without ample factual basis and suggest that we know, where it's somehow just proven that the sources of those wealth can be tied to some international blackmail or intelligence operation. I mentioned that OPR report, or the
like I brought that argument up.
He jumped
of not leaping.
He jumped.
No, but I brought that up as far as not leaping. But that's all he's arguing against. I think in this video is arguing against that.
What? That's what I'm saying. He just leaped. Michael Tracey just leaped to say he doesn't like leaping. Why can't you finish the topic of the financing? Like, how did he get the house from Wexner? Oh, do you not know that, Mr. Michael Tracey?
Well, yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. I think he wants it to be something where it's like it fits his idea of the world, maybe. Like, the world works in simple, rational blocks, and I want everyone else to agree with that. So thus I will maybe focus on, Trump fan, 845789, on Twitter. I'll focus on that guy and just dismiss his argument or debunk his argument instead of like, hey man, let's start from scratch. Let's fully investigate all of this. Thus, you can't just dismiss them as gold diggers or something like that. Like that's what he's kind of saying, right? Or like fake victims for the sake of making money off of it. Like he's kind of implied that a little bit here. So like I don't understand his perspective as much as I don't understand like someone that just leaps to, well, Tom Hanks was on the island, or Oprah Winfrey is in the Epstein files as like raping young girls or something, or young boys or whatever. So it's like it's equally bad to me as far as investigation goes.
Well,
God.
He did bring up that he left Bear Stearns and became his own consultant for super elaborate people.
And he had a reputation.
That's
likely, right?
To get consultant fees, you sign paperwork, and there's traces of your money like that too. That is public information.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I would assume that there's like an actual paper trail of all of this. Right.
Oh yeah, and if not, it's IRS. And as big as this case is, and like IRS would have had a field day with him,
or not.
We wouldn't have seen. We wouldn't have seen all the classic. Like I don't know. Does the IRS want you charged with something, make it public? Or has that become a classified case? Because we know Wesley Snipes was charged with tax evasion. But did that make it so that everything was public?
I'm not sure because I didn't follow the case at all.
Right, I didn't either.
I don't know.
I just know.
And they don't retain things after 5 years. Like they don't look that far back.
Could I go in at a certain point and just publicly read the court case and there would be no redactions? Like I'd see all his money.
What do you mean court case though?
For Wesley Snipes?
Oh, for him? I don't know in this case.
Yeah, but
like when he got charged for tax evasion, could I have read everything about that case with no redactions?
Yeah, no but idea. Some case like the Epstein one where they didn't actually get to go through anything, right? Because he died too soon. Like I would assume they'd make that somewhat of record, right?
It's the second time he was charged.
I'm saying like the one where it's like everyone's like, yo, who is this guy that connected to all these people, but also trafficking young girls? Like that was the idea in society. Right, so it's like, wouldn't the judge be like, okay, well, we can do this with, in a sense, a public way, like an OJ or something, right? Like a public, like it's a big celebrity case thing.
Right, or at least they pull out highlights and say, "Here's where $52 million went. Here's where $38 million went. Here's where, and this is how he got this billion, and this is how he earned this 60
No,
billion."
they
Because
don't do that. There's no wealthy person that they just out their finances like that. The things that
when
are
the guy is
public.
accused of sexual trafficking and everyone believes it, would that make a difference, Jesse?
Yeah.
What about the big tax guy or the big guy that got taken down in 2000, early 2000s as like the biggest white collar crime and
you mean
American
Bernie
history?
Madoff?
Madoff. They told us numbers for that. They told us numbers. Maybe not all the numbers and how it worked.
Yeah, so the numbers that from Madoff. So what I said was that there's no wealthy person that they out their personal finances. Now what they publish are from the companies, because usually so like the hedge funds or and that's freaking amazing that he got away with that stuff for so long. But they didn't look at it. Like they like he files these papers, they didn't look at it. Otherwise they would have known that he actually wasn't even trading anything. Like the same thing, right? Like he wasn't trading, and he had like one of the larger hedge funds. So this yeah, actually in his case he faked he was submitting like falsified trades. But
Which looks like money laundering from a mile away, right?
Yeah. So what gets published or the numbers that like everybody knows about are because of the company that they're running. So because like very large companies like that, they're like public, so they issue and they have to issue some
but
filings.
What if it was like connected to, once again, the idea is that he ran some sort of, like, the public's idea at the very least, right, is that he's running some sort of enterprise with all this money, like, to traffic young girls, right? So thus his financials would be up for sale as far as the court is concerned, right? Because it's a part of the crime. Is that
right?
Is that a legitimate statement? Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So would the IRS be involved? Like, be another department that gets involved to see how much did he earn, how did he earn it, who's paying him,
yeah,
and what he files.
I'd have to see.
And then
like,
maybe they might not make. Maybe they wouldn't make it like all of it public, but they could show us like 10 checks and be like, "Here's a check for this, and this came from this person, and this is a check for this, and this came from this person. We're going to convict these people that paid him because we think that."
What were the official charges? What was the official charges for Epstein?
Prostitution.
Yeah, not the 2008, but the prostitution. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely Google it. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
So the older case.
No, the newer one where like he's being charged with something, right? Because he's being held. Right.
2019? Is that year?
Yeah, that's when he died.
2019. Yeah. Did they bring up formal? They had to bring up formal charges, otherwise they can't hold him, right? It's like, what were the charges?
Sure.
That would, I think, explain a lot of they can or cannot go into, I guess, right?
There's charges, and then there's like, do you actually go to court, right? Like he didn't even go to court.
Well, I think he had like hearings where they formally charged him, right? Like in front of a judge, like you're being charged with this, how do you plead, or all that shit, right? Have to assume. Did they get there? Did it not even make it there? Like,
here's the DOJ. Jeffrey Epstein charged in Manhattan federal court with sex trafficking of minors.
Yeah, so it is the thing that people are talking about. Got it. That's all I need.
Sex trafficking. Like, is that all it says?
Sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of minors. The indictment sealed today alleges that between 2002 and 2005, Epstein sexually exploited and abused dozens of underage girls by enticing them to engage in sex acts with him in exchange for money. Epstein allegedly worked with several employees and associates to ensure that he had a steady supply of minor victims to abuse and paid several of those victims themselves to recruit other underage girls to engage in similar sex acts for money. He committed these offenses in locations including New York, Palm Beach. Epstein is expected to be presented in Manhattan federal court this afternoon before U.S. Magistrate Judge Henry B. Pittman. The case is assigned to U.S. District Judge Richard M. Berman.
But
it continues on.
Wait, can you do trafficking to yourself? It wouldn't like.
That's what that said.
It's trafficking girls to myself. Is that what
that's
the
what
charge is?
Yeah, that's what he just read. He actually didn't reference any third parties in that charge.
You cannot human traffic to yourself because
I'm saying like lawfully, not our opinions. Like lawfully is the term trafficking. Does that work for someone?
We have a slang word for trafficking. It's called pimping. So think about what pimping is. You're not pimping to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'll take your word for that, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's some sort of technicality.
Human trafficking involves you transporting across state lines to others for the procurement of a fee.
Yeah. And now those were the official shit. That's what you're reading. It wasn't like a journalist or a website.
This was July 8th. This is DOJ, July 8th, 2018.
Okay. Yeah. So then, like,
it continues, but it's like 5 pages long if we keep reading.
Okay, fair enough. But Michael Tracey's telling me like, maybe that's why he threw those words out of like they weren't prominent figures, but there was trafficking, but they weren't prominent. Maybe that's where he's like a technicality almost, or I don't know, like a qualifier for what he's saying. I don't know. Either way, like for me, I said like I don't care if it's. I made a video about this. Like it doesn't matter if it's Jay-Z and Bill Clinton. Like it could be randoms. The point is to like people want to know, why not thoroughly go over the case? But the way Trump's just like the Trump administration just dodging it around is kind of crazy, and then the way these guys are handling it is kind of crazy. Like the way he brought up the Me Too thing, like he's talking to Ben Shapiro's crowd almost. It's just bizarre as fuck to me of a thing to do. And honestly, I'm surprised. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. But what's a lame?
And
is it a lame?
It's a level of looking at it too, where like they have no hesitation on prosecuting a child abuser that isn't famous.
Yeah. This is just getting stranger and stranger.
They do go.
The more I look at it.
Well, in the last decade, though, they've been going hella light on fucking child crimes. Hella light. Like people are getting probation.
That I don't know about. I mean, we know some people that do something, but I don't know the straight details of everything. I don't know.
They're going super light on child molestation now. For the last decade.
It seems like, well, from when I was looking at the Trump administration, it seems like they make statements every so often about how they locked up whatever amount of, sex traffickers as like a totem or something, or as like a look what the fuck I did thing, right? I viewed them as PR essentially, but they could. I don't know. I don't know exactly enough details, shamefully. But yeah. All right. Let's continue because this is absolutely fascinating. Here we go.
DOJ
But no, it isn't.
2020, after the public outrage or the renewed public interest in the story, the DOJ did a very comprehensive report about that NPA, a non-prosecution agreement in 2007, 2008. They interviewed Acosta at length. They interviewed anybody that they could find who had a DOJ association. And there's an incredible footnote in that report that you never hear mentioned or rarely hear mentioned, because what people who believe the most maximalist version of the story want to believe is that there's like an Israeli intelligence component or CIA or whatever nefarious purposes. And I don't necessarily deny that it's totally implausible. I don't believe, rather, that it's totally implausible that Epstein could have interfaced with like Israeli intelligence people with some connection to Israeli intelligence over the years, because he had this known association with Ehud Barak. When he was a former prime minister at that point, but when he was prime minister, he would have overseen the Mossad and so forth. So, I mean, look, let's just like stick to what's plainly known in the public record and like draw inferences from there. However,
and what if the public record doesn't go far enough? If they don't ask the questions, what if they don't investigate thoroughly? Do we just take it for what it is? This guy's you're a fucking idiot at that point, right? You're a dumb fuck at that point. That's kind of crazy to do as a journalist. It says right there, journalist. That's kind of crazy to do, right? Just take the public court records as for granted, almost like this is the case. That's kind of crazy.
This guy's doing a different job right now.
Yeah, that's weird. Sorry to cut him off, but let him keep going, because I think he's going somewhere. Here we go.
Plainly known in the public record and like draw inferences from there. However, Alex Acosta is quoted widely with people among people who have this more like conspiracist maximalist view as having made this infamous statement that was reported in the Daily Beast in 2019 that Epstein, quote, belonged to intelligence. And that's why Epstein was given this quote unquote sweetheart deal in the mid to 2000s. Now, interestingly, in terms of the sweetheart deal, again, misconceptions around that as well, because one of the reasons why the feds interceded is because there was consternation about how the local authorities in South Florida were handling the case. And there was a concern that if the Palm Beach district attorney was allowed to handle the case entirely on its own accord, Epstein would not face any incarceration at all, he wouldn't have to register as a sex offender. So the feds, Acosta says that his role, as he saw it, was to provide a federal backstop. So there would be an obligation imposed on Epstein to have to, for example, submit to some degree.
Yeah, this guy's straight up lying.
Lax people might have thought it was. And Epstein did have to register as a sex offender, although, yes, he did use his wealth to kind of game that system in the aftermath and get more lenient treatment than others on the sex offender registry would have.
Is that a problem?
Flat out lying.
So the Florida guys are like, yo, we're probably gonna let him go, but Alex Acosta steps in like, no, give him some punishment, like a little bit. Like, how did they...
The feds saved the day?
Is it a
and got him 9 months of weekends in jail.
Whether he used intelligence, his status with intelligence, or he used money, either way, isn't that like crazy, Michael Tracey? Isn't that a crazy thing to happen? Like he put it in quotes, like quote unquote sweetheart deal, right? Then now he's saying like,
which it was.
Yeah, it was a sweetheart deal, but like the feds tried to make it a little bit worse than what it could have been.
Which was just let him go.
He's saying they would have just let him go. Meanwhile,
Florida
they
took
it away from them. They took the case away from them. They didn't allow him to pursue that.
What the fuck is he saying?
Am
I wrecked?
And Acosta, I mean, yeah, sweetheart deal in quotes. Yeah, like, okay, you could just walk out of jail, right? That's crazy. And it included making I forgot the term, but all the co-conspirators were immune in the deal.
Yes, like, which is what Ghislaine's using right now as a way to, like, I guess, get out of her sentence or something like that, right? She's appealing to the Supreme Court.
That's why she wasn't charged the first time. Like,
yes.
Okay, like, we know she was guilty, but like she's already with that initial deal, her, anybody else involved, they couldn't get tried.
Wait, how does Michael clean that up? I'm sure he's not going to address it.
I'm confused. That's the footnote he's referring to? Is that he got a deal that was not that, like, that he still had to go to jail? That's the footnote?
The footnote
He's saying
is
this is the jail time.
Florida was going to let him go, but the Fed stepped in and gave him 9 months of weekends in jail.
While having
and nobody talks about that? That's the thing that nobody talks about?
The feds were not, like, he doesn't work for the feds.
The feds are
somehow
trying to
that
stop
makes
him.
It, he doesn't. Yeah, somehow they gave him a harsher punishment, so than the Palm Beach or Florida would have done. They made it worse for him, so he doesn't work for the feds.
And he just blew by this whole thing that he kind of was mocking about Acosta, saying that he was intelligence. Like, he did say that to a journalist.
Yeah.
Like, even though he won't, like, repeat it, like, he said that. He won't deny that he said it either. Like, when asked directly about it, he's like, I can't talk about that.
Well, the thing you just brought up, Jesse, of immunity for everyone else around him, and he just, I guess, quote unquote, took the blame. That to me is just, that's magical. What the unicorn shit is that, bro? Like, usually they RICO motherfuckers, right, to get more people, like, charged, right? In this case, they're like, all right, we won't investigate anyone else, just you, and you're going to get, like, a sweetheart deal. But the feds will come in and make sure you, like, you know, at least spend a night in jail, at least, right? At least be there for that. Because the feds are working so hard.
He's got to drive to jail and spend the weekend in jail?
I mean, think about the traffic dumpster. The traffic he had to go through to serve his sentence, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's torture alone.
It reminds me of, like, the Pablo Escobar thing where he, like, has his own jail, like, has his friends visit.
Exactly.
Oh, he had a house
Fucking
Crazy
Narcos.
circus.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
These fools got fresh steaks and lobster coming into the jail. They got jukeboxes and pool tables.
Strippers. Like, what?
Hey, we're going to jail today. Fucking Goodfellas.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Same thing. That's what I'm imagining. It's like, what is this?
Jimmy, don't put too many onions in the sauce, all right?
The razor blade, they were chopping with a razor blade in prison.
All right.
Yes, the garlic and the razor blade.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go.
Did use his wealth to kind of game that system in the aftermath and get more lenient treatment than others on the sex offender registry would have.
I mean,
and so,
but I mean, miles beyond regular sex offender, whatever the fuck, right? Miles beyond them, I'm sure, of a deal. But all right, here we go.
Like, he says that so casually.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
no, it's just normal. Like, is that normal? Like, where the fuck are you from,
Michael
weird. Tracey?
Like, I don't. This is not normal. This is weird. He's capping for something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are people who, like, probably in reality. Yeah. There's people who are, like, in regular reality who are not actual sex offenders, but have had, like, just by the legal system been, you know, whatever, persecuted or whatever the fuck, convicted of something, right? Even though they actually didn't do anything.
They've gotten more time for having sex in a playground.
They've been,
like, literally
treated harsher than this motherfucker.
Yes.
These are mountains, Michael. Not, oh, he just had some more money, so he, you know, did that. Like, come on.
What was it? Your third time getting caught with pot could get you a life sentence.
And back in the day.
Until fucking, 15 years ago?
Yeah. Fuck my life. Okay. All right, here we go.
In the aftermath and get more lenient treatment than others on the sex offender registry would have. And so, but in that OPR report, Acosta is asked directly, did you have knowledge that Epstein had any association with intelligence at the time that this plea agreement was being negotiated. And Acosta, under oath, under penalty of perjury, says the answer is no. And
I'm sorry. This one I'm going to make fun of because of like sports alone. Rafael Palmeiro, baseball player for the shitty Baltimore Orioles, looked right in the face of Congress and said, I did not take steroids, right? Either way, he got caught anyways, regardless. But it's like...
Oh, is this the anti-Semitism one? Where he's like...
He was under
No. That's
okay,
Ryan
sorry.
Braun.
Go ahead. Different shitty
yes,
baseball
they are
player.
under oath. Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro. These guys are under oath talking to Congress, saying like, yo, I did not take steroids. Well, okay, under oath. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. Either way.
They are under oath. They're talking to Congress.
Lie.
Okay, they were.
Could lie.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Apparently, Jesse, human beings can actually like lie. They can do that.
Under oath?
Yeah. Even under oath, they can
This
just.
is face.
Yeah, they can lie.
You mean that they could risk losing their job and possibly facing 2 years in jail if they don't tell you the truth that they're doing steroids?
Well, Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, and OJ's glove didn't fit. So, you know what I'm saying? You get it now? OJ's glove did not fit, so you must have quit. Okay?
That's a song, bro.
So,
that's a song.
And the Taliban sent envelopes of anthrax.
Yes.
DC. There you go. Thank you.
They risk perjury. Oh my fucking god! Someone like it's like he has to get hit by a car or something. Like reality is real, Michael. Sometimes people drive through red lights. Sometimes brakes give out. Sometimes people lie or steal.
Dude, Michael's lying. He's lying.
This child, at the very least, the fucking child.
Yeah.
I think he's full of shit. I think he's full of shit for the sake of a narrative.
He's made better arguments. Like, there's no way. Talk to this guy on Twitter, X Spaces or whatever, where he'll entertain certain arguments and like, he's lying right now. This is weird.
Actually,
I think he's full of shit.
I can keep his dream alive that Michael Acosta was not lying in that statement.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael Tracey. I can keep his dream alive that Alex Acosta was not lying in that statement.
Yeah.
Someone else told him that was of power that you can't touch him because he's federally connected.
Leave this alone. It's like, do not touch this biohazard. Do not touch this thing.
He can still testify. No, the feds. I don't know of any feds involved in this.
He's just going way too hard on this topic in this way. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
I
hope he has a Twitter X Spaces again. He usually lets people up to talk.
I think he's full of shit, but I don't know the reason.
That's what I'm confused.
It could be the sake of like, okay, we've gone too far with maybe in his mind, like the conspiracy theories. We need to like get back to Walkman headphones, walking on the street with a microphone in your hand, journalism. Maybe he's like that. I don't know, but that's all I got. I can't tell his motives for all of this.
Yeah,
I don't know him well enough to know his motives.
He's a guy who wants to be seen as, if I had to guess, being smart. If I had to guess.
Well, I mean,
contrarian to
the Shapiro, so mainstream. It makes me question everything. So,
well, Ben probably heard his takes. So like, yeah, come on over here, get on our show.
It's like, why do you think Ben wants? Why do you think Ben wants to have you on the show, Michael? You know exactly why. That's why this doesn't make sense.
Okay. All
Sorry,
right.
go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Association with intelligence at the time that this plea agreement was being negotiated. And Acosta, under oath, under penalty of perjury, says the answer is no. And I mean, all these podcasts that are proliferating that talk about this issue, do you ever hear that quoted? Like, okay, if you want to use the hearsay
no,
quote,
in fact, when I mentioned that to other podcasters on this particular topic, they will then say, well, he was put under DOJ to make that statement. So it's kind of an incredible Ouroboros of misinformation on this particular topic, ignoring the actual evidence on the record in favor of things that are not in evidence in order to substantiate the theory. And I think this is where things blow up for the Trump administration on this particular issue, because the people who are put in place to investigate this are, as you mentioned, people who are very open to the idea that there was this giant conspiracy, to say the least. Now, you mentioned Kash Patel, the head of the FBI.
And they saw the evidence.
The deputy director of the FBI, Pam Bondi, the attorney general. These are the people who, if there were a conspiracy, would be the most likely people on planet Earth to uncover it, expose it, and then talk about it openly, obviously. And instead they...
Michael, there's no way you just take them like, yeah, Ben. These are the most likely people to definitely, because they're so gung-ho for conspiracy theories, that these guys would be the number one people to go after the conspiracy theory. Michael? Now, this is one where, like, I've seen them, like, questioning the motives or ideas of what the fuck the Trump administration has been doing, right? So, there's no way he can let this fly, right? There's no way. He's been making statements about, like, oh, well, if you just watched the first 4 years of Trump, you'd know what was happening right now, right? He says shit like that. So there's no way Ben could just say that. But, yeah, these guys are gung-ho for conspiracy theories. There's no way Michael can sit back and just let that happen. Let's see what happens. I'm curious.
Pam Bondi, the attorney general. These are the people who, if there were a conspiracy, would be the most likely people on planet Earth to uncover it, expose it, and then talk about it openly, obviously. And instead they come to the opposite conclusion. And the conclusion that people... Yes.
What?
Right. And the conclusion that people then come...
What did he say? What if it includes Trump, he said?
Expose it and then talk about it openly, obviously. And instead they come to the opposite conclusion. And the conclusion that people...
Implicate.
Yes. Right, and the conclusion that people then come to
Ben
is,
out for a second.
well, they must be in on the conspiracy, right? They've flipped 180 degrees. They were pro-conspiracy before, now they're anti-conspiracy, and that can only
because they lie to us
right now. And then you see, obviously, cynical people on the left jumping on President Trump, saying that it's a cover-up. That's really why this is happening, is because Trump's name is in the... First of all, it'd be shocking if Trump's names were not in the files, considering he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for solidly 15 years. And Bill Clinton's name's in the files. As you mentioned, a lot of prominent people are in the files. The search for a sort of further answer. I get why people are curious and upset because they were oversold the story, but you've been the most detailed expositor of what's actually in the evidence, and the desire by people to assume facts not in evidence, or that the absence of evidence is evidence.
Okay. Pause. Michael Tracey is the lead investigative journalist on this topic?
No, he's not.
Ben Shapiro just said it was.
That Ben agrees with.
Ben is deeming that the case. He's the prime expositor of, like, you talk normal, you fuck faces. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not even in separate rooms. They're right next to each other, and his hand is down here, and his hand is down here, bro. I would not be surprised by this at this point. They are jerking each other off, essentially. I'm sorry.
Stop fantasizing about them, Jordan.
I'm sorry. I'm letting oxygen.
Don't put your...
Yeah. That's why you geeked out. That's why your internet geeked out. Correct. Anyways. Yeah, well, fuck. Whatever. Hit play. By the way, Michael was the one who just said, like, shut up. By the way, Michael was the one saying it implicates Trump, right? He was saying that. He just said that, right? And then, but Ben's like, Ben's kind of like trying to dump on that point, while also this guy's saying it at the same time. So I'm very curious where this goes. Here we go.
Story, but you've been the most detailed expositor of what's actually in the evidence, and the desire by people to assume facts not in evidence, or that the absence of evidence,
the evidence by people that you called conspiracy theorists,
it puts us in the realm of the unfalsifiable, which is the case I've been making all along. And if you're going to accuse people of being complicit in a child rape and sex trafficking cover-up, you better have more than just I'm speculating about a series of facts that I don't have in evidence, and I'm ignoring the evidence that's currently on the table.
And by the way, audience,
look at the evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way,
Prison.
audience, if he said, yo, Israel's committing war crimes, crimes against humanity, if you say that to Ben, he'd be like, where's your court filings, huh? Where are they? I don't see anyone like going to jail for this. There's no court filings, there's no convictions. So thus it didn't happen. So that's your context for the scenario. So like this guy, the guy on the left has no, in case you never heard of him, the guy on the left has no credibility in regards to any of this shit. At all. So he's donezo. Michael, listen, he seems to be on like a vendetta in my opinion, but we'll see where he goes. He's on an intellectual vendetta. What's up?
I was going to say, I accuse you, Ben Shapiro, of being an Israeli operative. Yeah, I don't exactly have evidence that you're an Israeli operative, but I'm pretty sure you're an Israeli operative. And I got a lot of circumstantial evidence to say you're an Israeli operative.
I mean, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. In my Discord talking shit. Anyways, here we go.
Yeah, one area where you and I would traditionally disagree in general is probably on Israel or U.S. foreign policy, where I've been much more critical of U.S. foreign policy in relation to Israel than you. But now I'm experiencing this bizarre phenomenon where people who ordinarily would think that they would agree with me on Israel now assume that I'm like secretly covering for Israel or that I've been compromised by Israel. And that's why I have the
Is this
that I
vendetta?
do around the Epstein thing, because of course Israel's sway within the American political system can be explained by sexual blackmail networks, as though like that's the most coherent explanation for the role that Israel plays in U.S. politics. And so
he's talking about Candace Owens or something? Who's he talking about? Who are the people that approached him?
I want to see how Ben responds to that.
I didn't even consider that until he just said it. But I wasn't thinking about him and sexual scandal.
But that's Candace Owens' idea, right? Blackmail by Israeli operatives to, honeypot or whatever the fuck, right? And then they.
Oh, that's been around for.
Yes,
that idea.
Yes, but I'm saying who is Michael Tracey interacting with that is saying that?
Oh.
I would have to assume it's like random. I don't know, random Twitter accounts.
Gripers.
Yeah, but it's not what it's like. He's saying like, oh yeah, these people that I once respected are now talking to me about this stuff. Like he's making it sound that way. I'm like, who are you talking about?
I mean, it could probably be like the mainstream liberal people who are talking about it, like
Israeli
Kyle
blackmail.
You know what I mean? Yeah, the liberals are all in on it. They're like,
really?
Yeah. They're even talking about the Katie Johnson case.
I thought that was straight up Candace or maybe Fuentes or like people like that. I don't know.
No, they're like, oh, there's like a blackmail ring. Something's going on. It's been on the. It's been around, like even breaking news, like Crystal Ball.
But I don't think Israel's solo on it in that sense. Well, I just think they're in the mix of it.
Yeah. Well, I view it personally as like a equal partnership to fuck the world over with other leaders of other countries too. But I'd leave room for the possibility like, okay, these guys have blackmail on someone. One country has blackmail over another country. Like, I'm not dismissing that either. Or leaders of another country or famous people for another country. I am not dismissing that at all. My idea of it, though, personally, is that it's a bunch of gangsters working together to fuck the world over. And, they win, we lose type of thing. But, like, I'm not just all out dismissing blackmail or any of that shit at all either. But I'm wondering why Michael would.
With anything, yeah. That's always going to exist, especially if you have a group of people that like has power or whatever, or they're committed to stealing or committing some sort of crime. Like they're going to work together, and they're not going to like anybody who wants to do the right thing. So it's like that's literally everywhere. It's just like So it wouldn't be so unbelievable that it would happen on the government level.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's official stories of honeypotting, right? of intelligence or whatever, honeypotting people from anywhere across the world, right? So for Michael to just outright, full-blown dismiss the idea is kind of crazy. Now I understand he's looking at it from like, okay, Israel controls every little aspect of every little thing we do in life, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing he's just dismissing. But why would you throw away the idea, like the possibility of some sense of blackmail or anything like that with honeypotting, essentially? Why would that be like thrown in the garbage? I would never do that. But going over the top,
he's referring to the people who he said he respects. So I'm thinking of like maybe the Glenn Greenwalds, the kind of like more even-tempered about this kind of stuff, who are going like full in, right, with the whole Epstein stuff and saying like, you know, blackmail ring, Israel, Mossad, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what the hell? Like, you know, are we just going to be so outlandish about it? I don't know. I'm being very generous to Michael right now for some reason. But,
yeah.
No,
that would work.
Because if he says it's people who respect it, right?
Here's how you pose the question back at Michael is like, okay, you take all the
Ben Shapiro. Yeah. Go ahead.
You take away all the blackmail stuff, and like, then why do we do so much for Israel, this small nation that we made?
I had my reasons for that. Because we're not exclusively helping Israel. That would be my explanation.
It's an outpost.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean,
we do shit for Saudi Arabia.
It's 10 million people. It's 10 million people versus the whole region. And we choose them.
It's an outpost.
So why do, like, but I mean, it's a deep, deep question to ask. If there is no blackmail for us doing that, like, what is America, England, France, Russia in World War II making this place? Why did we do all this? It's 100 year. It's what 85-year-old question, if not 100-year-old question. There's
definitely
1,000 answers to it.
No, I agree.
So it's just you take the blackmail out of it, then you're stuck with a problem.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Biden say if they didn't exist, we'd have to invent it? like he's, yeah.
But that's like PR, and maybe it's the easiest to market of like an ally, right? It might be it's probably easier than Saudi Arabia for Americans, right? It's probably easier to market Israel over Saudi Arabia, even though we favor both of them, right? And they favor each other, seemingly. So like, I can't say I know what the exact reason is.
I'm just saying, if you erase his issue, there's still so many fucking issues.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There's like, you can't just straight up answer that.
Well, that might be part of his argument, though, Debster, where it's like, there's so many things that are deeply wrong with that relationship, which I've heard him give, like, cogent arguments about that like, everybody focusing on the salacious, like, blackmail, sex op, trafficking of it all might be distracting from some sort of... I'm just thinking, like, maybe that's how he's arguing it, but I don't know.
I think it seems like he's...
But by doing that, he's acknowledging there is some form of corruption that made Israel in the first place.
Well,
so therefore, it is blackmail.
He talks shit about
it's
Israel
blackmail
a lot.
It's blackmail regardless of if it's blackmail on this. There's blackmail within the creation of Israel.
Yeah, but
there doesn't have to be blackmail. Like, it doesn't have to be that they're necessarily controlling the U.S. It could actually be the U.S. or all along, right?
I see equal partnership of devil worshipping little fuck faces. That's what I say personally.
Yeah,
they chose the leaders of who was going to take Israel and make Israel. They chose who the commanders were going to be.
But the overall point for me is that you don't need to like dismiss this story in order to get us to focus back on the practical arguments against Israel or whatever the fuck, right? That thing, I'm like, no, sorry, I'm not letting that fly at all. Personally, that can't be the reason for me. maybe that's his reason, but that'd be like, to me, it's like you're mind melting people. It's the same as, Hassan Piker saying, I won't platform Nick Fuentes or Benjamin Netanyahu because it could change minds. It's like, who gave you the right? Who made you daddy? Same thing here. If he's like, yo, the Epstein stuff is a distraction, so thus I will argue against logic and reason and, an obvious sense of something suspect happening, I will argue against it for the sake of focusing back on Israel. It's like, you claim to be daddy. Like, and you're not my fucking daddy. Sorry. You're not that guy. Sorry. You're not that, intelligent about these topics. You're not that, enlightening about these topics. So, no. You dismissing the Epstein thing, sorry. That's not...
It looks sus.
The reason is not good enough. If it is about, like,
very
making... Like, hey, guys, let's focus on the real crimes of Israel. Like, I can do both of those things simultaneously. So, I don't need you to help me in that. Or anyone else, Michael Tracey. Sorry.
Yeah. And then to go on Ben Shapiro's show to talk about it, I'm sorry. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, the venue is... I don't know.
I reached across the aisle.
I'm actually kind of stunned.
Went across the aisle.
Thinking about, like, how organic is that? Like, how did this come up to be? I could see a few ways, but it's weird. Like,
I mean, wait, he's a Democrat?
Well, they both want the Epstein thing to go away as a story. They're like, okay, let's be done.
Right.
With it. That's what I'm hearing. Let's let it go away.
Why?
If Michael Tracey's
reason,
said
that
I don't know.
He said he would be interested in what was it, like, some of the investigating more about the financial things, like how he, understanding the backstory of Epstein more. He said he'd be interested in that.
It's a dead end anyway. You're gonna end up in the fucking Cayman Islands, not knowing.
But then he just said that to sweep it under the rug and now to put the whole thing to bed. So I don't think that was
a dead end.
genuine.
I mean, hey, listen, I will understand if his point is to go back to the quote-unquote serious topics, right? Meanwhile, Ben's point is to... I don't know. What's his point? What's Ben's point? I guess to dismiss the idea dismiss the idea that Israel is a part of anything, right?
Yeah.
That'd probably be his goal.
Is Ben going to respond to the like what Michael's saying?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Okay.
Michael's already doing Ben's job right here.
I say let's find out. Let's find out. There we go.
Yeah, you can never win. There's an unfalsifiability here. I think unfalsifiability is best reserved for the realm of religious dogma.
Hey, Michael, is the government of Israel and military purposely starving people to expel them from the country? All you have is a bunch of circumstantial ideas at that point, right? But it seems pretty obvious too at the same time.
And he would probably agree with you.
And yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like that's why it's so weird. It's like what? What?
Can we just be done with Epstein? It's not intellectual enough. All right, here we go.
My estimation. So, people have unfalsifiable beliefs when it comes to certain doctrinal tenets of the religious system that they adhere to. And they will openly acknowledge that, no, there is no possible evidence that could disprove my belief that, say, I don't know, Christ was resurrected or Muhammad ascended to heaven on a winged horse or whatever. And okay, I mean, we can get into a philosophical debate about that, but in terms of current affairs, and in terms of in terms of matters that could actively defame people and have in relation to this story, I think there should be a little bit more circumspection exercise rather than these wild, grandiose claims. And yeah, Kash Patel is guilty of.
Not everyone's doing that, Michael. Why are you picking the low-hanging fruit of someone's like, oh my God, okay. So Pizzagate, and then at the pizzeria, Jeffrey Epstein was, raping young children, and why are you going with those theories instead of but there is something here though, right, Michael? right? If you're gonna do it, like, take it serious. If you're gonna do it, otherwise, just say like, "Yo, listen, I don't care about this topic. I'm gonna focus on this stuff over here." Like, do that. If you're right and the world is wrong, like, or whoever society is wrong or Twitter's wrong, then like it is what it is, right? But you over here trying to like dismiss everything as everyone's just full on. It's all Pizzagate and it's all the Clintons and Tom Hanks. Like, you dismissing it as that is like kind of, I think, batshit crazy. You're actually doing the thing that you're claiming other people are doing. Actually, of like, this is like actually a crazy notion and a crazy, I don't know, a crazy approach to do all this stuff. Like, it's batshit crazy to me. But all right, here we go. Here's a smart guy.
Of it, Dan Bongino was guilty of it. I mean, so they
Dan Bongino, this is happening before these guys.
In something, I would argue that they're implicated in these like lazy habits of mind and kind of pandering to an audience. And Kash Patel perhaps should apologize if he wrongly impugned, like Chris Wray, for instance, who he personally accused of concealing the quote unquote Epstein list, or a list of pedophiles. And now Kash Patel's in that exact same position. And, by his own logic, I guess he would also be indicted by what he was accusing Chris Wray of. So as like just as a matter of like public decency and honor, I mean, I think he should give some accounting of that. But the thing is, people don't want him to account for that. They want to account for the conspiracy that he is assumed to now be party to. And also Trump is at fault here as well, as I think you would probably.
Michael has not seen any evidence of Kash Patel just lying to people.
Apparently.
This is all boring stuff.
Isn't he kind of saying that? Because he brought up
what he's saying is that, well, he should apologize because he found nothing and he was blaming other people for covering up. So he's saying he should apologize because there was nothing there to see. So he should apologize to the people he was accusing. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Chris Wray, who he was blaming.
When he sees the footage of the jail and all that, like he sees nothing wrong with this. He's like, oh yeah, there's 7 hours of, I mean, we're missing things and it's edited and all of it.
Exactly.
He sees nothing.
Exactly, Jesse. Which means
we see evidence.
That means Tracey has to like go into a conspiracy theory at that point, right? The FBI saw nothing, right? So they released footage that was clearly doctored, or a screen record or something, right? We see like UI, we see aspect ratios change, right? So it's like, okay, then they put that out there as what, Michael Tracey? As a way to trick us and to keep going along with the conspiracy? Which would be what? A conspiracy, right? Wouldn't that be conspiracy itself? So it's like,
he's saying that like nothing happened, nothing like we see things. It's not just made up stuff. Like we look at what they show us, and that points to more things that like
that has to be part of his theory, though, Jesse.
Invented.
Right? That would have to be a part of like what he's like the Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, right? Saying like, okay, there's nothing here. He killed himself, right? Mm-hmm. Then they give us video footage, and it's clearly doctored, right? Not saying what the reason is or why it's doctored or anything like that. I'm just saying it is doctored, like clear as day, like by eyesight it is, right? So,
yes.
So
very, very doctored.
So for Michael, it's like, okay, well, why? What would be the point of that?
Right. So Patel, either somebody on his team doctored it. That's one possibility, or it was doctored before they touched it, and they don't look at it and say like, hey, there's something up here we got to check out because this is.
Well, they're claiming to have the raw footage now. They're claiming to have the real footage now, right? But also, yes, you're right. You're right. Like at the time, right? It's like, okay, instead of Wired.com doing forensics on it, right? The FBI should already did like forensics on it, right? But what's up with this? And it should have been like studied from 10,000 different fucking angles, right? With all your FBI agents, right? So thus it didn't make sense to release that and say like, see, look, he killed himself. See, That makes no sense, right? I need Michael Tracey to take all of those things we just said and make it make sense in reality.
Justify it.
Yeah, make it. Please explain it to me, Michael. Like it's brain breaking at that point.
Well, he looked at the evidence. He saw that video, and he didn't see nobody else going in or out of his cell.
Yeah, and it's our fault for not accepting a doctored, minutes missing video of a camera angle that showed nothing. It's our fault for not, like, just... Yeah, there it is. There's the proof. All right.
Yeah. You couldn't even tell it was Epstein walking into a cell.
Yeah, no idea. No clue. And apparently there's now proof of different camera angles of different rooms and shit like that, or different hallways or whatever. I've seen the screenshots
and
of
Axios. The only reason we know that was supposedly Epstein walking across that walkway or that open area with 2 guards around him is because Axios, the leaker, told us that was the case.
No, that was released. That wasn't... Right? That wasn't leaked. Right, the footage?
No,
that was released.
No, the footage
yes.
was whistleblown.
No, that was released.
Listen, let me finish what I'm saying.
Sorry, go ahead.
Axios got the initial video, and that was made public to us through Axios, and was given to them by a whistleblower the day before Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, and Cash Patel said, yes, this is what we were talking about.
No, I thought they released that. It was that,
no,
and they said we can't showcase the child porn, right? That was their idea of it, right?
No, it was released the day before they had that press conference.
Really? Because
via the whistleblower.
The way Pam Bondi talked about it was like, oh, well, there's a minute missing because of 1990s technology, and every time it hits 11:59, it skips to midnight, right?
So when they did the press conference, they said it's this.
That wasn't a press conference
yesterday.
No, that wasn't a press conference.
What?
That was them in a meet. Like that was where Trump was like, "Why the fuck are we still talking about Epstein, huh? Why are we talking about Epstein?" That's the answer to the question. But that's where we got that from. Later. Oh, okay.
No. So it was a press conference. It was first Axios with. No, it is their fault because they instantly acknowledged that they were the whistleblowers that gave it to Axios to be released. So it would be.
I'm right.
Like weaker, like saying like, okay, we're just gonna say this is the product, and it was whistleblown the day before. It is our work.
I'm wrecked. So okay, then that means if that's true, then that means it's like purposely released, right?
And the only so Ox was reading it. Ox was reading it that day. We were watching that tape from the original story was Axios. He was reading that at this time, this is when Epstein walks across the thing with the 2 guards around him. So we see 2 guards around a guy in an orange jumpsuit.
But wasn't that... I'm wrecked. I thought that was
an official
Epstein. Release. But I thought that was like an official release from the government.
It was not official. It was whistleblown.
I'm wrecked.
Quote unquote, like Michael Tracey.
I'm wrecked then. I'm wrecked. All right, whatever. Either way, they still fumbled everything.
Yeah, they took credit for it the next day.
It's just the way Pam Bondi explained the missing minute was just weird. So maybe it was like a purposeful, like whistleblown video, right? on purpose?
Yes, it was purposely whistleblown instead of officially released.
Yeah, that's I'm not all right, I'll be honest, I have to look into that cuz I swear to god it felt like a actual like release thing. But whatever.
The next day we're just on top of it. Yeah, this is the tape. Yeah.
But it was bullshit. That's so much more damning. That actually is.
Well,
You're
yeah,
like,
and then they let people find out about the minute missing, then made a statement about it. Aren't gonna help you along the way. We're just gonna see what we can get away with until we can't get away with it anymore. Then we'll address the minute missing.
oh my god, it's fucking Cash Patel in like a long raincoat or like a trench coat, just standing in front of the New York Times, like, oops, damn, where'd my Epstein tape go? I can't find it. Oops, where'd it go? I don't know where. It's just like prancing around. Where'd my tape go? Where'd that pesky Epstein tape go? Oh man! Like they grab it, they fucking take it in and record, show it for everyone. Oh no! They got the tape.
It's
oh man!
They glanced at this 7-hour video, and then they let us find out what was wrong with it. Then they said, "All right, we're gonna look at it." Oh, it was a 1999 video camera system. We didn't know that before you told us there was a problem with the tape.
I'm gonna get back to the video, but it's like the amount of horrendous actions from this administration in regards to this. I don't know how you're Michael Tracey just looking at this like, yeah, nothing to see here, without some sort of bigger conspiracy, right? Of them trying to like distract us or bait us with something. It's kind of great. But all right, here we go. Let's continue. Maybe he's saying that. So let's find out. Here we go.
There's just no plausible deniability that he had a lengthy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. There's been photos and videos making this known for years. Obviously, to the extent that there's an Epstein file, and we also have like semantic confusion what that would even consist of. I mean, there was this anticipation engendered that the Epstein file will be like a consolidated Excel spreadsheet listing all the people to.
Let's not be stupid, Michael. He's being stupid. We're not addressing stupid. Go too smart, Michael Tracey. Yes, we're not saying there's a fucking PDF file, no pun intended, PDF file of like, okay, here's Bill Clinton, here's Tom Hanks, here's this name, then that name. Like, no, obviously not. It's based on investigation. Like, okay, these guys are directly connected in the criminal sense to this guy that we understand as a criminal human trafficking person, right? So it's not about the idea of a list, quote unquote list. No one's doing that except for maybe the silliest of silliest people, right? But no one else is actually doing that.
Well, you could extract a list from the names.
Yeah, but that'd be the FBI or DOJ list of like, here's the names mentioned, right? That'd be different,
right?
But no one's saying Epstein has like a Rolodex of like, okay, here's Bob, here's Jamie, here's Susie, here's Sally.
Right? You're saying it wrong. Bob the pedophile, Susie the pedophile, and then
whatever.
He's got Rolodex says this is my pedophile Rolodex, and this is my legit good friends Rolodex.
I know I'm wrecked when I'm pausing the video every
now he's just
2
repeating
seconds.
like state propaganda, because like the only people, like, I hear this phrase a lot, but it's always just said to kind of sweep the whole thing under the rug and make people sound crazy. Like, that's who's saying it like that. So like he's just repeating this kind of like narrative now.
Yeah, this is Trump's narrative of that conspiracy theory. We're still talking about that one. But all right, here we go.
Whom Epstein trafficked minors or something. But no, what would be an Epstein file? It would be like FBI 302s, being memorializations of interviews that have been conducted over the many
smart people,
investigations that have been done on this subject,
smartness,
or documentary evidence that's under seal, etc. Another irony here is that to the extent that there's a lot of material still that's not been disclosed to the public, particularly in the civil litigation context.
I gotta go to bed.
A lot of that stuff remains concealed out of deference to the purported victims, meaning that they have outside privacy rights,
8 points,
and therefore they're entitled to have materials concealed,
practically reading a script
in perpetuity. I mean, I agree with Dershowitz in that we should call for maximum disclosure, even if it would be seen as averse to the interests of those victims, because sunlight is the best disinfectant. But for Trump to have launched this weird crusade, like
he's like, yeah, showcase these victims because sunshine is such a disinfectant. That's where he just went right there. Okay, Michael, smart guy.
He's saying that he's trying to sweep everything under the rug.
I think there's something to that, for sure. I can't tell his motives yet, though. He's just like, ugh, just ew. Like, why not disclose? Like, why not go into every little topic? Even the most crazy conspiracy theory. Why not investigate it to the nth fucking degree, Michael? But, he's so smart, and he has Walkman headphones and, a trash haircut. Now he's the smart guy. He's the intellectual. Got it. Here we go.
Averse to the interests of those victims because someone is the best disinfectant. But for Trump to have launched this weird crusade, like disavowing his own supporters and calling it a hoax, and who even knows what precisely he means by hoax? Is he saying the files are a hoax or the whole Epstein story is a hoax? Like, he's not often that precise with his language. Maybe if he were a lawyer, maybe he would be a bit more legalistic, but he's a reality TV show host and entertainer, and so he just kind of talks in sort of maybe sometimes ambiguous generalities. Hey. But yeah, I mean, if I were advising Trump, which I'm not, but if I were advising him
in New Jersey,
I would say just be open about it. Like, yeah, you attended social functions with Jeffrey Epstein. Perhaps you did send him a birthday letter. I mean, they want to just deny that. I find it implausible that the Wall Street Journal would have fabricated something, but I think to do this routine where
that's the Joe Rogan statement, right? You're relying on the logic right? Not saying that's so incredible of a statement. It's just more so to showcase where the guy's mind is at, where it's like he is such a man of the times that like you can't lie about that. They would never do that.
He needs one of these papers of record to tell him what the truth is.
Exactly. And he can quote it and be like, see, look here. Incredible. Actually incredible. But, I'm not surprised by anything like that. But here we go.
I wonder what he said what was it on ABC? Was it Dan Rather? Or when they had like the Times Roman font before it was invented or something? I would find it fantastical to believe that they would make this up.
So what?
Sure.
All right. Here's our resident smart guy, Michael Tracey. Here we go.
It appears as though you have something to hide. Just gives fuel, douses this whole thing with additional fuel to the fire.
I mean, I agree with you. To be fair to President Trump, I will say that when he was asked about the Epstein files in 2024, he said there was a bunch of crap in there also. He said, I want to do full disclosure, but he did actually say there's a bunch of stuff in there that is non-credible and all the rest. And you can understand his frustration because from his perspective, he's had a very successful month. He had the one big beautiful bill.
Okay. So Trump in 2024 said, oh, there's a lot of crap in there. Okay. I think I saw that. Okay. But why would he didn't notice that Pam Bondi was giving binders out to these random internet famous people. Dick Drano. He gave a binder to Dick Drano to be like, hey, look, Epstein files, y'all. He didn't realize that? Or he didn't know about it? Or what? I don't understand. Because he's not really doing much. Like, I'm sure there's things overseas that he has to deal with, but he also golfs quite a bit. And there's plenty of video of him golfing. So you're telling me like he had no time or attention for this? He's like, all right, guys, just do your thing. Good, do your thing. Go ahead. Right? Meanwhile, they're like, yo, President Trump just released the binder, bro. Phase 1, Epstein files. Here we go. Right? That happened under his watch. Is he that stupid? Or incompetent? Or what? Who knows? Here we go.
Actually say there's a bunch of stuff in there that is not credible and all the rest. And you can understand his frustration because from his perspective, he's had a very successful month. He had the one big beautiful bill. He struck Iran's nuclear program. He's pushed forward with apparently there's an impending peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Like there's a bunch of stuff actually happening in the world. He got a settlement from Columbia University, and everybody on his side, on the internet at least, is talking about the Epstein files. And he's like, guys, this is all old. Why are you bothering me about all of this? And Michael, I think this is where we can sign off on this. Well,
but then he keeps talking about it.
What this says about sort of the American body politic right now is that there is a very large-scale incentive structure that has been constructed, particularly online, to suggest that there is an elite cadre of people who run your life. And those elite cadre of people who run your life are probably in league with Satan. And so any conspiracy theory.
Okay, so he's going to do a joke here. Got it. Yo, Ben, in league with Satan? I think you need to, look in a mirror, actually. Sorry, I'm saying that, for real. Like, yo, look at yourself, bro. Look at the things that you look like. Forget about religion and all that shit, bro. There are human atrocities happening. Right? Ben called out Saudi Arabia and what they were doing with Yemen and said, that's human tragedy, destroying people. And there's less evidence about that thing than there is about Gaza. And what does Ben do with Gaza? Yeah. Exactly. I'm sorry. I can't let that go. That one's not getting by me. Sorry. Ben doesn't really, if I had to...
Particularly
sorry. If I had to guess, Ben doesn't know that he's worshiping a guy with horns and a fucking, devil tail. He has no idea. If I had to guess. I can't say I know. Or he's, so brainwashed into it. He thinks it's God. It's only God we know. Some stupid shit that we see in the world happening. But in reality, it's dude, you support malice, harm to other people. You support that shit. I don't care how many haircuts, studios, overcoats you fucking pay for. One day you'll realize, hopefully it's before you're fucking 80 years old. Hopefully it's tomorrow, but that's probably not going to happen, right? To where you realize, wait a minute. This is not good. This is bad. Hopefully one day you fucking pick up on that. God. This fool pointed out the atrocities that Saudi Arabia was doing in Yemen back in 15, 16, 17, right? Pointed them out. And there's less evidence, even though it's pretty obvious to me. But as far as on the ground camera footage of things, way less so than what's happening in Gaza. But this guy thinks well, Hamas. And it's yo, you're a fucking devil worshiper, you dummy. You you got tricked, bro. Sorry. You either got tricked or you're part of it. One way or another. It's sorry. I wonder if Michael takes an opportunity to let him know that. Well, what's happening over here? In his own little pseudo-intellectual way, right? Well, what's happening over here? Pontificating over the situation in Gaza, the discontent of the scenario. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. It's just annoying
to suggest that there is an elite cadre of people who run your life, and those elite cadre of people who run your life are probably in league with Satan. And so any conspiracy theory that sort of ties into
trying to be your boyfriend right now, Mike. You're going to let that happen, Michael?
Online. And this is not to say that there aren't conspiracies, because clearly there are conspiracies. Clearly there are people who get together And there's evidence of those conspiracies
Gaza.
where they get together and they do things, right? This is
Michael,
a point that Karl Popper has made. To pretend there are no conspiracies is silly, but usually we can tell there's a conspiracy by the people who get together and actually do the thing. So, for example, you can say that Anthony Fauci and company were trying to silence particular people when it came to their take on the COVID lab leak theory, right? We actually have evidence of
it. You can do that with, silencing people about talking about Israel or the new phenomenon about how bad Israel is, right? Before all that, when regular people were being shut the fuck up about these topics, right? There is evidence for that, too. Michael, you gonna bring that up to him? What do you think? Things that things that are blatantly hypocritical, that he's bringing up about Fauci and COVID stuff. Guess what people were doing about Israel? Ask Ben about that. See what happens. The guy who's being nice to you right now, see what happens. Go ahead. Do it. He can't do it. I know he's not going to do it, is he? He's too pussy, isn't he? He's too pussy.
Being sent back and forth. You have evidence.
The Trump-Russia conspiracy.
The Russiagate materials.
Yeah.
Correct.
Russiagate had many conspiratorial elements.
Trump-Russia. Yeah.
Exactly. So it is not to deny that conspiracies exist, that we're talking about this, but it is to say that if you are going to allege a conspiracy, especially one of this magnitude, that should require some evidence as opposed to just speculation. And there is something dangerously awry when people are so enthusiastic for the narrative that they are perfectly willing to simply ignore any and all evidence that is put in front of them and assume.
Sorry, say it again. I'm going to say it again. Low-hanging fruit, picking out the random Twitter accounts saying, well, okay, Pizzagate, Fauci, Clinton, Jay-Z, like that shit. Like, yeah, pick out those instead of like actual researchers that actually look into things. Make no mention of them, obviously. And by the way, maybe Ben realizes that you could actually turn this around about the whole Israel topic. Maybe steering away from that, possibly, maybe. I don't know, maybe a little bit. Here we go.
Awry when people are so enthusiastic for the narrative that they are perfectly willing to simply ignore any and all evidence that is put in front of them and assume that absence of evidence, again, is evidence of the conspiracy itself.
Yeah, as you may recall, Ben, I was a very early skeptical chronicler of what came to be known as Russiagate or Russian interference in the 2016 election. I gained a lot of followers and supporters on the right, even though I had been seen as having been on the left.
Wait a minute. Is this the intellectual? But he's looking for like praise and like hand claps. Isn't that weird? I can't say I can read his motives, but if I had to guess right now, he's looking for like, yeah, you got Russiagate? Yeah. Good job, Michael Tracey. You're on the left and you got that right. Congratulations. Right? I'm the guy. Congratulations. Good job, guys. And get tricked by something else later on. You dummies. Fuck. Here we go.
Left because I viewed this as a essentially unfounded conspiracy theory to undermine Trump that had been generated by elements of the national security apparatus, CIA, FBI, NSA, to basically criminalize differences in foreign policy views. And so there was a time when, people on the right and even in the Trump administration tended to really like me. And, but political dynamics can be fickle over the years. And now people think that I'm more hostile to Trump. It doesn't particularly matter. But that's all to say. I mean, there is this ever-present instinct of conspiracism in the body politic. And has it been amplified by the internet and accelerated by the internet? Sure. But
they don't read
there
enough
were
books,
times when during the Bush administration, George W. Bush, shocking numbers of Democrats believed in some variation of like a 9/11 truth theory, meaning that Bush was involved or complicit, not just negligent, but complicit in the perpetration of the 9/11 attacks.
And right on fucking cue, this was brought up earlier, to narrow it down to, well, George Bush did 9/11 is not you actually going over the fucking theory at all. And once again, not saying I believe in that at all. Like, I'm not saying I believe any conspiracies in regards to all of it. I'm just saying there was not a thorough actual investigation of it. There wasn't, as far as I'm concerned. Same thing with Epstein. But Michael thinks he's just picking out the random Twitter account that says, like, yo, 9/11, George Bush did it. Even though more people are saying nowadays the dancing Israelis are more so saying that theory. But either way, Michael sees that and he's like, oh, look, lower intelligence. I'm so fucking smart, aren't I? Fuck. Dweeby dumb fucks. They ruin everything. All right, here we go.
Trump Russia or Russiagate, you had supermajorities of Democrats believing not just that there was quote unquote Russian interference in the election, meaning that somebody with some connection to some potential Russian state actor bought some social media bots and put out stupid stuff on Twitter, but that Putin tampered with the actual voting system and it illicitly stalled.
Some random Russian accounts put some random shit on Twitter. But that's who you're arguing against. Not Russian, I'm saying. I'm saying, like, random Twitter accounts is who you're arguing against when you, like, that's your main, I guess, opponent to your counterpart of the theory, right? You are the counterpart to their theory. Meanwhile, you're not addressing people that have some actual, like, coherent arguments about any of this stuff. 9/11, Epstein, any of it. Instead, you're attacking the low-hanging fruit of Twitter accounts and then telling me how much you know about it. Congratulations. I read the court documents. Congratulations. Other people have too. Good job, Michael. Fuck. He needs friends, bro. Michael, join my Discord. You need friends. All right? Actual friends. Anyways, here we go.
Trump into office to subvert the American electoral system.
People for
so
you
these
to
beliefs
talk
are very common. And one thing I remember hearing from like an embittered Democrats or people on the liberal left when I was critical of the Russiagate narrative was them saying to me, where there's smoke, there's fire. So you can always build up, you can always like postulate the existence of some smoke. You can also always throw spaghetti at the wall and come up with all these disparate data points that you say must add up to something, even if you don't have a coherent theory for what they really add up to, or like how one X leads to Y. I mean, some of these people really should probably go and take a rudimentary philosophy, like 101 class or something.
I think you should actually, bud. I think you should actually. You probably need like sociology, right? Because if I give you philosophy, you might just like memorize quotes from people and then try to regurgitate it in your own way. Just like dog shit, right? That's not philosophy. That's not the study of wisdom. That's you repeating shit you heard from somewhere else. Fuck, he's annoying me right now. It is what it is. Here we go. Sorry.
It can
Smart
be
guy
helpful.
talking. I'll shut up.
You mentioned Karl Popper. He gifted us that concept of unfalsifiability that actually is a helpful sort of heuristic for evaluating news events. And then on Epstein, there's another component here because like the online right in particular really does have a certain need to be perpetually speculating that there is not just elites who are oppressing us, but that there's an illicit child sex trafficking ring, and like society is fundamentally ordered by or governed by the assumed existence of satanic child sex trafficking rings. QAnon. Epstein has a much more tangible factual predicate than QAnon, but like there were similar elements with QAnon in terms of what was fundamentally understood by people who believed in that to be the ultimate explanation, which is that there was, the Democrats were doing pedophilia essentially. And so, yes, I do think, I'm probably more sympathetic to you with some critiques that could be made about the control that elites exert over society.
Elites.
However, I think that the obsession with the critique by virtue of child sex trafficking accusations or everything is pedophilia, everybody who we disagree with politically must be a sexual predator. I think that often.
Who the fuck says that? Who says that, Michael Tracey? Like, it has to be random Twitter accounts, right? Like, who's he talking about? I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Everyone we disagree with is a sexual predator? Like, who's he talking about? I don't even think the fucking Q people go that far. Like, who are you talking about, dude? Do I call this a straw man? I guess. Maybe. Except I have no ground. Like, the straw man's floating in space. There's no ground for the straw man to sit in to be like, okay, he's talking about this. I don't know what he's talking about. Is it random Twitter profiles that he's argued with a little bit or something? Like, who the fuck is he talking about? Fuck my life, dude. Whatever.
Child sex trafficking accusations, or everything is pedophilia. Everybody who we disagree with politically must be a sexual predator. I think that often tends to be a serious non sequitur. And ironically enough, kind of
I'm playing that fucking movie. I don't care. I'm doing it.
A sound or more rational critique that could be made of how elites conduct themselves, or maybe, divert resources or mismanage things, or look, elites are real. I mean, elites do have power. Elites can be scrutinized journalistically and otherwise.
They have no power.
But I just think that what elites probably love the most is that people are so obsessed with this pedophilia stuff because it's a total distraction.
Who the fuck is he talking
Well, that is...
Okay, that's it. Who the fuck is he talking about? Who is he talking about? Obsessed with pedophilia? Like, I guess he means the Pizzagate guys, I guess. I don't know, or the Jim Caviezel movie, whatever it's called. Those guys, okay. Maybe Michael's here to wake us up to actual reality. Thank you, Michael Tracey. Thank you for your contributions to.
Sounds like it's all Pizzagate stuff he's thinking about.
Yeah, it sounds like Matilda's dad, Danny DeVito, right? I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're short, or whatever the fuck. I'm big, you're small. Whatever the fuck. It sounds like that shit to me. Where's your substance about it? Like why? Why would people go there, Michael Tracey? No real addressing of it, right? I have my theories about entertainment and all that stuff. He's got nothing other than to say, like, look, I know what I'm talking about, you don't. I read the court filings, which could actually, like, if you actually look at it, could make you dumber. It actually make you dumber for, like, this whole scenario than not knowing anything at all. Just by having questions could make you smarter. Right? Not saying he's there, I'm just saying, like, that is a possibility. It's like sports fans talking about stats instead of, like, the actual sport itself. Right? You reading the numbers like, oh my god, this guy has 40 home runs. He must be good. Like, no, he's actually, if you look at him, look at his mechanics, look at the way he, like, biomechanically moves, right? He's terrible. But, you're right. 40 home runs, that means good. Anyways, I'm going to end it there. Just a long-ass video. There's your video. Michael Tracey, Ben Shapiro. Very disappointing. I was actually expecting something different in the beginning, but yeah, this was not a debate. This was a, hey guys, can we stop? Like, almost like Trump is in the room himself. Hey guys, can we stop talking about this? It's all conspiracy theory. God dang it. And sure, maybe you can see that if you focus on, Bob Tree 187 on Twitter. Yeah, if you focus on that guy, yeah, sure. Everyone's a pedophile, got it. But if you actually hear, like, real arguments, you can't just leap there. But then again, these are the smartest people in the room, right? Ben Shapiro and Michael Tracey. You laugh at that. These are the smart guys. There it is. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment. There's a lot here. Agree, disagree with any of us. Shapiro, Tracey, me, anyone in the fucking Discord, or something that's just like a sidebar. Anything you want to say, please say it in the comment section. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description box. Check them out, please. Read them, and then share them, and then donate. if you have the means to, if you feel like it, please do it. If it's available. It's a little mystery. And with all that said, please give this video a thumbs down. And definitely these two little fuck faces. Give them thumbs down for sure. Fucking dweebs. Well, okay, Ben's a dweeb for sure. 100% dweeb, devil worshipping, dumb fuck. Michael, the jury is out, but this is very disappointing. Very much so. But anyways, give us all a thumbs down.